Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to our premiere program for Saturday night here on Six Screens Live. We have the program, it's called Watchtower Insider. Well, Barbara Anderson speaks out, and she's on here tonight with a number of people. We have look at friends, all of us getting out of the Watchtower at one time or another. We all thought about writing a book, right? Oh, wouldn't it be great to write a book with our trek in the Watchtower? Well, we have some people on here tonight that took the time and the effort to do it. And that's what it takes, time and effort. And we really appreciate their time and effort in putting together a book to be able to expose the Watchtower. And we're seeing more and more people wanting to write books. And that's a good thing because it's exposing how evil and corrupt the Watchtower organization is. So I'm going to bring on Barbara Anderson first. And I just want her to, it's her program. So Barbara, what do you want to say to people that are willing to take the time and effort to write a book about the Watchtower?
Well, they have to have something interesting to say before anybody wants to read it. So I certainly believe that the people that we have here this evening to interview have had very interesting lives. And they put it down on paper for us to. Not only are we just reading it, it's just not entertainment. We will learn from them. Even the Bible said that way back early in the Bible writing, there were many, many books written. Of course, the word book doesn't kind of apply for those years, but people were interested in telling their stories. And these folk here tonight have a very interesting lives. I know them and I know their stories. I've read their books and I was so elated with each one of them. They're each very different. And I felt like everybody should enjoy them like I did. So tonight we're going to look at this. Now, some of these books are novels. Others are true life stories. We should have, probably by the time we're finished, 5 folk, right? 5 people that are going to be here to talk about their book. Now, there are a lot of books written by ex-Jehovah's Witnesses in the years past. Most of them are interesting. So many were on dogma and arguing about why the Watchtower was wrong as far as theologically. We're not too much into this. We're much more into exposing the problems in the Watchtower, or we're here exposing what the Watchtower's harm did to us. So, with that in mind, I think we should continue.
All right, what we'll do now, I see you folks, you say to me sometimes, Rick, you're always moving that microphone around, but we have 7 different computers running here at our control panel. And in order to get good sound from the different networks, that's what you see me doing. So that's why I'm moving the mic around. So just bear with that so we get good sound. But what we're going to do here, Barbara, Gary Alt, well, he's coming in from England. And of course, he's 5 hours ahead. So I think we probably should get him on first. He's probably tired, and we really appreciate him coming on. So okay, there we go. Bethel Days. There is Gary Alt's book. So why don't we bring Gary Alt on? And Barbara, why don't you say hello to Gary?
Hey, Gary. Nice
Hi.
to see you.
Same here.
Yeah, the nicest thing about this all for me is to get to chat with Gary because he's very special. He comes from the same area I did. He was raised in Westbury, New York. When I met my husband, I was living in Westbury and working part-time at headquarters a long time ago. And Gary was at Bethel when my husband and I went there in 82. He came in, I think, in maybe 80, 81. We overlapped. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of things in common. We know the same people. And And I'm anxious to hear more about what he says, because I think he's going to tell us some things that even aren't in his marvelous book, a book about exposing the idiosyncrasies of the people that ran this organization years ago. Most of them are deceased now, but he has a lot of interesting things to say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for having me. So when I was actually encouraged by a very good friend. She's, I don't know, maybe 5 or almost 10 years ago, to write about specifically about my Bethel experiences. I had already written a book in a novel form called Force of Will, that and the author on that is Tan Swiftwater. I use the pseudonym because it is a novel. But that was about 4 years of my life, around the time that I was actually leaving the organization. And this person, of course, knew about it and read it, and said, you really should write something about your Bethel experiences. And I didn't think that really was. I couldn't imagine making that interesting. It just didn't make sense to me. But I put it on the back burner, and it was, I don't know, maybe a couple of 3 years ago that I thought, you know what, I probably should just write about specifically about experiences with the various governing body members, because I knew every single one of them, um, having with, at the very least, eating breakfast and lunch together every weekday for not the whole time I was there, but for a lot of the time that I was at Bethel. And then, I knew some better than others because of work and other situations, and visited with them in their rooms and things like that. And I thought, yeah, maybe I should do that. So uh, I will tell you that I picked it up and put it down many, many times, because I kept wondering, why am I even doing this? Does it make any sense? Because I typically am probably known for talking about how, to some extent, we don't want to just, we can't just forget the past and just erase part of our life. But to some extent, we want to kind of put the Watchtower in the past, and kind of move past it. So why am I writing a book about the governing body? It doesn't really make any sense. But the more I got into it, and I just decided I'm just going to do a book about that. That's just basically my experiences, my actual conversations with governing body members, and in some cases, in a few cases, it's sort of just factual information that I know about, and I could confirm and cross reference and things like that. But I pretty much tried to stick with just experiences with them. So it was actually a lot of fun,
I like
because I forgot so
on the
much.
front cover. I like that.
Yeah.
You said curated expose of my interactions with and impressions of 27 governing body members and other heavies. Throughout this book, you use a lot of Bethel lingo too. I forewarn everybody, but that's what they're called when they had powerful positions. They were heavies.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if they still use that expression, but I can only imagine they do. A Bethelite would understand it immediately.
Young people do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was pretty much a young people's expression. It's just talking about any, and I explained it probably in the preface. I explained what that means, but I will just tell you right now that it basically is kind of what you just said. It's anybody that there's a perception of them being very prominent. So it's not necessarily just governing body members. It could be what they call helpers of the governing body. So people that just, they give special talks all the time to the Bethel family. They're high up in the service department or something like that.
And the writing department.
And the writing department, yeah. Those are probably the two departments.
Heavies.
Yeah. Or, executive offices.
Right.
I would say probably those three departments are the main ones that, if somebody is really prominent, it's you just know it. So we call them heavies.
Yeah. Some of them were humbly arrogant. weren't they?
I guess so. Yeah, because it really seemed that some kind of basked in the glory of it.
Mhm.
There was somebody in my congregation. I was in the Columbus Circle, New York City congregation when I was there. That was a really big fan of J.R. Brown,
Oh,
and oh my God, I mean, he patterned everything about himself. And this fellow was a very good speaker. He was very, very good. He was giving public talks like long before he was appointed an elder, like early to mid 20s. Did a beautiful job, just a fantastic animated speaker. But he imitated J.R. Brown to the point where he could just about worship the guy. In fact, it probably wasn't just about, he actually worshiped him. And I don't think any of those guys mind the praise, to be honest with you.
and J.R. Brown was the spokesperson for the
Yeah.
Watchtower. Eventually, he became overseer of the writing correspondence
Mhm.
department. So I worked kind of close with him because when writing correspondence got letters in from victims of child abuse, and many times he would be asked to share them with us so we could, myself could read it, but there was one or two others. So I know of him for that. And I know of him from other things too, like the time he lied to the press. I think it was the New York News that interviewed him over my disfellowshipping after Dateline, or before Dateline, actually. It was a few days before Dateline. And he didn't tell the truth. He said he didn't know anything about it. He knew plenty about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have
Well,
double standards that they speak with forked tongue.
yeah, they call it, in the name, or they justify it by referring to it as theocratic warfare, which is an expression that's not in the Bible. I guess you can argue the concept is there, but it doesn't. They just make this stuff up.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can understand if, like, I always use the example of, let's say, Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia, where there was a lot of pressure to turn in fellow believers, and you wouldn't want to do that because it was unjust the way the government and military forces were abusing people and imprisoning them. So yeah, so you wouldn't want to give away information that you don't feel they deserve, or that is going to hurt somebody. That's I can understand. But when they just lie, like my favorite examples are what we don't shun. We don't practice shunning.
Yeah.
It's up to the individual, and normal family relations continue. I mean, it's absolute, and you can see their videos on their website. Some of them have been removed recently, but I've got copies of them, so I could show them at any point in time I want to.
And of course, we're shunned, so we know what it's like. So we know.
Oh yeah. It's so unnatural and so inhumane. It's obvious that it's not just I always say the Bible does. There is a verse that talks about. I forget exactly what Paul wrote to whoever it was, Corinthians or something, or maybe it's Thessalonians. I can't remember, but where it does talk about not speaking to a certain person. But that's the only example I could think of, and it was an extreme. Oh, it was in Corinthians, actually. It was an extreme case that was scandalous beyond belief. So if that's a precedent for what they do today, I mean, oh my God, somebody asks a couple of questions and all of a sudden they're ostracized. It's just. So, and then the other thing, of course, is the fallacy that they actually report cases of child abuse to authorities, which I think is safe to say never happens. Maybe if somebody misinterpreted the legal department's direction and actually reported it, maybe, but they typically don't. It's just a lie. They just because they say it's okay in certain circumstances, depending upon what state in the United States you're in.
That's right.
It's okay for the victim or the victim's guardians to report it to the police. We're not going to criticize you, which they used to do very, very severely. That's not reporting. Oh, we know all that stuff. But
right.
That's in the name of theocratic warfare, so called, they do that. But it's that's not the same thing as just not offering unnecessary information that's going to result in someone's imprisonment or something.
That's right.
That is just hiding actual practices that are very explicitly. It's really easy to figure out what they're doing, you know.
You know,
So yeah, that
Gary,
it's
Gary, this is Rick Farron here at the Six Screens. I want to come in here in a second. Now, Gary, boy, I tell you, I really appreciate you taking the time to write a book and come on tonight. But what would you say, Gary, your book? What would you say is the theme of the book, and what was the impetus to make you write it?
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's actual experiences. I just thought that actual experiences with and conversations with the governing body members. Um, the reason I wanted to write it, and then why I kept picking it up again after I had put it down, and I wanted to do it, was I just think that it's interesting for to understand some of the reality of what actually happens when you spend time with these individuals. And I also think that it's important to be accurate about something that if we, for example, hate the governing body, I mean, there are many people that would completely vilify the entire governing body as an entity and anybody that's on it, anybody that's been on it. And and I understand the reasons for feeling that way, but the feelings can be very, very intense. And it seems to me that you ought to know what you're hating, right? I mean, you ought to be accurate about it. And frankly, there's an awful lot of inaccuracy about where things come from. And
that's what I was going to say. I agree with you
yeah,
100%. Some of
yeah,
the older books have been around and had repeated statements that over and over again, they were not really true. And even about doctrine that the Watchtower observed, there are inaccuracies in some of these books. I mean, there are plenty of books about Jehovah's Witnesses that do speak accurately, but it is incumbent upon us who are familiar with the organization, as the point out all three of us are, and many others, to speak truthfully and not with hatred and
right.
bitter. If they got something good to say it about these people. They were
Right.
as blinded as we were blinded at one
Right.
time. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I think that I don't have the book handy with me here in England. It's back in the United States.
Okay, I got one. So
George.
tell me where to
Yeah.
turn.
No, when I was talking about, I was going to refer to the Crisis of Conscience book, for Ray Francis' book, but somewhere he said that these guys were victims of victims. I mean, they were for the most part raised by maybe just their mother or whoever, or both parents in the organization, and they went through the same thing as just about anybody else. They at one time got baptized when they were 12 or 14 or 16 or whatever. They eventually became ministerial servants, and so at some point they got to the point where they're now on the governing body. I mean, at what point would you say that they have just became pure evil? So I don't particularly believe that concept that they're all just pure evil to the core.
Yeah. Right.
And I just, like I said, reported for the most part just actual conversations and interactions with them. So if I can't verify something, I'm not going to write about it,
Right.
But even at that,
these are your personal experiences. You're not reading other stories.
Right.
Yeah, Gary, we've got people coming in here on the chat, and they want to know what years, Gary, were you in Bethel,
yes.
and what jobs did you do there, Gary?
Why did they want you at Bethel? That everyone's trying to know.
Yeah, early 80s to mid 80s. It was 81, I think, October that I went. That we went. I went with my first wife. We were in our, I don't know, early 20s, 23 or something. And I left in mid 80s. I guess by 85 I was out. I always forget the actual date, but I was in the computer department, and I tell that story in the book, how I got to know Grant Suter and Dan Sidlick. It had to do with my Bethel application. Grant Suter was actually visiting our congregation, and I started thinking about using my computer skills in for the worldwide work, because I knew I was good at it, and I thought, what better way to help the organization and the work that they were doing? I could do much more as a computer programmer than I could do as a preacher out there in the field. So we applied, and we were actually interviewed. We were actually brought into Brooklyn for an interview with the man that ended up becoming my overseer. He was the overseer of the computer department. His name was Ed St. Hill. And which is unusual. They don't usually interview people. I suppose they probably do it with doctors and lawyers and such. I don't
did
know.
it with us, and my husband was a plumber, so
Yeah. So I guess it does happen, but it was convenient. I mean, Ed basically said that, well, we don't usually do that, but you're half an hour away, so why not?
right.
And so they did, and they called us in, and then it was Dan Sidlick that moved my application up. It was really lingering for a long time, and I had no idea what was going on. And I met Ciro Alessino and his wife Dolly when a good friend of mine was giving his first public talk up in the Classon's Point congregation in the Bronx. And just getting to know Ciro a little bit, I just was telling him about my application, and he says, well, yeah, with your skill set, we really need to be paying more attention. I said, I'm going to talk to a friend of mine about it, and it turns out the friend of his was Dan Sidlick, who's a governing body member. It's nice to have a friend like that, I guess, right? And so the next thing you know, we got called in, and so that's what I did, and I worked directly with a couple of governing body members because of my work in the computer department. Because basically we reported to Grant Suter. He was the overseer of the administrative data committee, which was over my department.
He was secretary treasurer of the Watchtower.
And he was the treasurer. He was the overseer of the treasurer's office, and he goes way back to, yes. I don't know. He's one of the board of directors way back in the 40s or even earlier than that. I don't remember. But and then Lyman Swingle replaced him when Grant finally died. While I was there, he had a slip in his bathtub one morning, and I'm not sure exactly what the cause of death was, but I always thought it might have had to do with the stroke. But whatever it was, Lyman Swingle replaced him.
Broke his neck. His wife told me he broke his neck. So he
broke his neck. Okay.
Yeah, so he lay 6 months. All he could do, he couldn't move any part of his anatomy, just his eyes. Yeah. And
I remember they used to report to us pretty frequently about how he's doing, and he was doing the work of the secretary of the Watchtower from that position. Just I don't know. I guess blinking just to say approval or not approval, I guess. So those two guys I work with directly because I did applications for the treasurer's office. I worked on the mortgages and insurance application for the Kingdom Halls. And then others I knew from like Dan Sidlick, I got to know very well because of being on family nights. I was on every family night except for the first one.
Yeah, you're very musical, aren't you?
Yeah. I never forget the first one we played.
What do you play?
I play piano. Well, I play guitar and drums and a whole bunch of things. And I played the flute on family night too, but I'm not really very proficient at the flute. I just was able to fit something in. But I played the piano, and so the first family night we were only there for a week or two, and it was just us in the audience, But every single one after that, and the whole time I was there, every 3 months, really, well, 3 times a year, because they took the summer off, I was on family night playing the piano. And so Dan Sidlick was one of the committee members of the family night, and I tell several stories about him that are connected with that. Yeah.
I want to tell everybody, you gotta read this book because it has all kinds of human interest stories. I think you'll really enjoy them. You know what, Bob? Something I wanted to ask you in your. I don't want to change the subject. I just want you to add this because it shows you got newsy stuff in there and something you worked on. Some programs you worked on. You said that the Watchtower sold the program to Westinghouse or something like that.
You're talking about the they call it Watch Text. When they were their first, well, it wasn't the first time they used any computers, but when they first got into the IBM mainframe world, they were developing what became watch text, which was basically the composition system for the writers to enter their work in the computer, and it would compose the text and all that stuff and wrap the pictures within it and everything. But at the same time, they were developing MEPS. We're probably more familiar with MEPS, but
Mhm.
what is not understood is that that was a totally different system that was developed at the farm, totally independently from the IBM system. And they essentially did the same thing. And the difference with MEPS is that it was also hardware that they were actually developing, whereas with the IBM, we were just using the leased computers from IBM. But it was basically the same thing. So eventually, at one point, all of the publications were entered through Watch Text, and they sold it to. They would sell copies of it, so they always retained rights to it. They always used it until I guess they don't anymore because of MEPS. But they sold it, and so when I left Bethel, I went to work for Terry Poland, who's one of the. Terry had worked for IBM, and they brought him in. He's a very, very bright man, very like fiery intelligence, and he was there with his whole family living in a brownstone in the Columbia Heights, Brooklyn Heights rather, and so I went to work for him when he had moved to New Jersey. And any company that bought Watch Text, my job was to help them to tailor it to their particular needs. So I worked for the first client was Standard and Poor's, who basically print the a lot of stock information. You probably heard of the Standard and
Yes.
Poor's 500 index. So we spent a lot of time on that, and then Reader's Digest bought it. So yeah, we were working for companies that bought Watch Text. I guess they made a lot of money on it, and so yeah, that's what I did.
Kind of side information that people don't realize about.
Yeah.
Watchtower.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and there's a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in some cases, what like you said before, it's an honest expose. Some of my interactions were nothing but wonderful. My favorite example is Jack Barr, and here in England, a lot of people have known Jack Barr. Of course, he's long dead, but I've talked to so many people here in England that say, yeah, I know Jack Barr and his wife Mildred. Nothing but praise, even among the XJW community. Nobody has anything the least bit bad or negative to say about Jack Barr.
I talked to somebody yesterday who had something negative to say about Jack Barr, and I was very surprised because I had never heard, and they absolutely had a run-in with him. I said, that's not the Jack Barr I know. But it goes to show you, we all have good sides, and we got other sides of us that show once in a while, too.
Right. Yeah. In fact, I read something, I don't even remember where I read it, but it might have been Rick or somebody, Rick Fearon. I forget, but it was talking about a particular court case where somebody was the family was there working at the Watchtower, and she was the girl was being abused by her father, I guess it was, and how she eventually reported it and nothing was done, and they covered it over, and
case.
Yeah, and then and eventually she talked to Jack Barr, and she did get a little more satisfaction from talking to him. At least he was conciliatory and this and that, but apparently it didn't go anywhere. So that's negative. Yeah.
2 weeks, by the way. So
what's that?
They would interview her in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah. So anyway, that's an example of something I didn't know about, and I can't comment on it because I don't know any of the facts, But so a lot of the stories are very positive, but and funny or quaint or whatever. But then there are some that it's like no holds barred. I mean, because there's a couple of guys that Leo Greenlees. I mean, when he was dismissed from the governing body, I think we know why, and nobody had ever announced it. But you put 2 and 2 together, and it's just really obvious that he was. There was. I'll just say there was an accusation of pedophilia, but it's beyond credible. It's so it's just very obvious that that's what he was dismissed for. But even at that, I kind of leave it to the reader to decide, because I can't say for certain that I know. I talked to governing body members and they told me that that's why he was dismissed. But and then the other one is the kind of struggle that went on between Barr and Jarrah's, and you helped me with that, Barbara. You actually were probably the person that when I was having the most doubt, when I was almost done with the book, and I just thought maybe I should just throw the whole thing in the garbage. I don't know. And when you came back to me and said, no, this has got to be told. You got to tell this story. And then the next thing, of course, was that you helped me, especially with some of the information about Jaras that I didn't actually have correct. And that's where I go a little bit beyond just my interactions and conversations with them. And it's like, well, this is what's known about these individuals, and I'll leave it up to you to figure it out. But it's just really interesting to learn about the power struggle that went on between those two men, both on the governing body, and how it played out. I mean, when I was an elder years later, and I remember getting information on cases of child abuse, especially repressed memories. I remember that. I think you remember that too.
Oh
Yeah.
my, what a time to try to
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. So we're getting information from basically the writing department, apparently, because they're the ones that write the elder schools and things like that. That was kind of helpful, in a way. Kind of getting to the point where it seems like they got their handle on something here, and then all of a sudden all that disappeared. It seems like, and there was a point where I was no longer an elder, and I just was like, what happened to all what we had been told about, how to work with, encourage them to continue going to their mental health practitioners, and don't get in the way of it, but don't take over that kind of thing. And what happened to all that stuff? And it was obvious when you put together the dates and you read the letters to the body of elders and things like that, that it's a power struggle that Jares won because he outlived Barry. And, so I talk about that to the extent that I can. And again, I leave it up to the reader. I don't come out and say, I mean, I make the statement in the book that he was known to be gay. Well, that's true. I mean, a lot of people knew enough about him to say, yeah, of course he was. But I still don't say, yeah, he was gay. Yep, yeah, he was a pedophile. No, I don't come out and say that. I leave it to the reader because I can't really verify it. So I just try to be accurate and true about everything.
Well, he was sentenced to prove guilty, and
right.
Never had a trial, so.
Well, Gary, what we got?
And then they're not about to tell you about it. There's no way they're ever going to say, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with the Anthony Morris thing. Everybody wants to know is he dismissed? Did he retire? Did he step down? You'll probably never know for sure, or maybe you'll never know. It doesn't matter. They always announce things the same way. There's nothing in the way they announce it that gives away anything, because it's the same way they'd announce it for Greenlees, the Ewart Chitty. It was very, very similar language. And it's because they can't, I call it the white smoke. And I mentioned this in the book, how the white smoke that they use when the Catholic Church picks a new pope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's actually just a form of communication. It's not necessarily a claim that this is from God, by the way. This is from my Catholic cousin that assures me of that.
Hey, Gary, what we're going to do here, Gary, we've got, I just want to make an announcement here. We do have Barack on from, I believe he's calling in from France or somewhere in Europe.
Okay.
Barack, you're on with us. Just hold on. I just want these guys to know you're on the line with us. Hold on. Okay. We're going to get to you. Also, we have Rue calling in from Sweden. Hold on, Rue. We'll get you on shortly. But Gary, what I want to do right now is I know that people have read your book. I want to bring some people on here tonight, ask you some questions, and then you can tell us how they can get the book. And let's do that right now, okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Hey, listen, we got Gary Alt on here. He's written a book about, his trek in the Watchtower. So if you'd like to say hello to Gary, what would you like to ask Gary? He's on here tonight. So let's get these lines open. Don't be bashful. Come on. Say hello to Gary. Let him know that you're listening into the program tonight. Friends, I'll tell you what, to write a book is not an easy task. So for these people to come on and write a book and try to help people to get out of the Watchtower, Bethel Days, that's the name of the book. Barbara's holding it up right now. So go ahead. Come on. Say hello to Gary. Come on. Don't be bashful. Gary, I'll tell you what, we've got a number of people listening in. So come on. Why don't you just come on and say something to Gary here tonight? Well, Gary, I have to tell you something. It's so amazing. I know you've been on the 6 screens before, and I have to say that what's interesting, where you actually were a Bethelite. I mean, that book could be very valuable for people wanting to know what goes on inside the Watchtower. So,
Mhm.
Gary, how I'm going to give you 5 more minutes or so, and then we can kind of let people know where they can get your book, how they
Mhm.
can get in contact with you. So, go ahead and try to let people have an idea a little more about your book. Take another 5 minutes or so, and then let us know where they can get it. Okay.
Yeah, if you because I picked the name Bethel Daze, Daze, apparently it's unique.
Yes.
So if you just Google it, it's available on Amazon as an ebook or as a print book. Also on the Barnes and Noble website, and also the actual publisher, BookBaby. You just go to store.bookbaby.com. And I will tell you that, at least from my perspective, that is the best way to get it, because frankly, Amazon, they they're an incredible rip-off artists. I mean, I shouldn't say that because they're selling my book, but they act as if they wrote the book, and they give you just a little bit of it. It's like, holy mackerel, you wouldn't have a book to sell if I didn't give it to you. So with Book Baby, it's everybody benefits, and it's not all going to one person. It's a
Interesting.
multi-billionaire.
Good to
Yeah.
know. Mhm.
Yeah. So I would say, by all means, you use Amazon. I do, but Amazon or Barnes and Noble. But the best way, in my opinion, is print.bookbaby.com and just search for Bethel Daze, Daze. And there you have it.
I would like to mention this. I'm only going to do it this real fast, but because
Mhm.
this is why you should buy the book. Gary asked me to write a little bit about the book,
Yeah.
to put on the back page. This is exactly what I found. I said, Bethel Days is a vivid description of untold events and colorful personalities delivered with flair and balance about those who govern Jehovah's Witnesses since the 1980s. Gary Alt gives discredit where it's due and credit to those who deserve it, often using light-hearted colloquial jargon. His characterizations are not harsh opinions, but are written in a way that can add an additional degree of meaning to our knowledge of those who represent the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses at the highest level. And
Right.
if that doesn't tell you why you should buy the book, I don't know what does.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think along the line, I try not to go into a lot of detail about the operations at Bethel, because it could get
Yeah.
carried away. But obviously I touch on it. And the other thing I touch on is how this is not a theme of the book, but I couldn't help but touch on it, is why is there so much difference between this congregation? People went to college and it wasn't discouraged, but in this congregation, you'd virtually get this fellowship for going to college. Well, there are reasons for that. And there are reasons why elders get away with murder when it comes to the way they create rules, which there's in print. The Watchtower says over and over and over in print, elders are not supposed to make rules for the congregation, but they do. And the reason why is that the white smoke I was talking about. There always has to be this impression that they're all appointed by Holy Spirit. So if the governing body and the service department ever really told you the truth about some of the nonsense that they deal with elders, and why sometimes somebody has to be removed, well, it would completely blow out of the water the whole concept of being appointed by Holy Spirit. So they continue this farce, and I call it the white smoke syndrome. So there's a little bit of information there that I think people might who wonder, like, where does all this stuff come from? Why was I not allowed to do this, and what I had to do this, when my friend in the next circuit over, didn't have to do that. So it's but there are certain implications of the way they do things compared to what my experience was, and you put as an elder, and when you start to put it all together and compare notes and compare dates and things like this, for example, one of my favorite stories is, just real briefly, when I went there, Ray Franz had just recently left the headquarters and resigned from the governing body. He still hadn't disassociated himself, so he was still considered in good standing. I'll do the air quotes, still in good standing. and has reported to us as the family members that he's okay. Don't, thanks for asking. And when it finally became to light that he's disassociated himself and he was incredibly vilified, it was completely open season on Ray France. You can say anything you want. Nobody gave a crap about confidentiality because we know he's an apostate. So, go ahead and say whatever you want about Ray France. And when I started comparing all the dates and the things that happened, it's like oh my God, the way they were informing the Bethel family about it was just an absolute lie. Just an absolute lie. Because they made it sound like there was this line of demarcation where, he was doing well, but then all of a sudden he, got himself disassociated. But actually the whole time that they were saying he's fine, that's when the witch hunt was happening. So they basically just lied to the family about it.
Yeah.
So, it's just, there's a lot of things like that where, like, even the way things were handled when I was an elder within our body with certain matters, it was like, it's obvious, like, this is the modus operandi of the organization. This is the way they do things. When they are convinced that somebody is guilty of something and they want to get rid of that person, they get rid of them. And I was involved in cases like that where there was a certain elder, they wanted us to remove him. And sometimes they can't do it themselves. They need the elder body's, buy-in. And I mean, it's just, I don't really talk about this in the book specifically, but I saw firsthand how matters that they are convinced that this is what has to happen here. They make sure it happens, and we didn't investigate a darn thing. We just rubber stamped it, So that's what they do, and so that's the kind of thing that you can learn from this book is what's the reality, why these things happen in the organization.
At the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Barbara, hold the book up again so people can see it. And we're going to move on, Gary. We've got 4 or 5 other people want to come on here tonight. So, Gary, thank you very much. I wanted to get you on first because of calling in from London. But, Gary, thank you for wanting to come on to the 6 screens tonight. We really, really appreciate it, Gary. You keep waving that flag of victory, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Yes.
So much.
All righty. Well, there you go. That's Gary Alt. We appreciate his presence here tonight on the 6 screens. So now I want to.
Hey, Rick, before you go, I got to tell you, Gary does a great job. He's got 2 chapters here. One is on money and the other's on sex. That really ought to sell good.
I don't know. The one on sex, I mean, well, what's that deal with?
Well, I'll tell you real quick. I'll tell you real quick. It was a major scandal at Bethel with just, oh my God, everything.
Well, they have to read it to find out.
Yeah. So I don't want to give it away, but I mean, it was amazing to me because I was a new Bethelite and people were being disfellowshipped left and right when I first went there. Every week there were several announcements. It must have been like 20 or 30 people in no time at all. And they finally had a talk with the family about it. And man, was it a doozy. Man, I don't want to give it away, but yeah, there was some crazy stuff going on.
Just around that time too.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to read in the book. Gary, you're a good man. Don't you ever change.
Thank you.
Keep standing tall, and we'll get you back here when we can. I wish we could keep you on longer, but we got some people calling in from overseas. Pony, I see you're on there. Be patient with us, please. We've got some people calling in from Europe. We're going to go to them first. Are you on with us? We're looking to talk to a man named Rue. He's calling in from Sweden. He wrote a book called Rutherford Cool. Are you on with us?
Here it is.
Are you? Can you hear me? We can hear you, Rue. We can hear you. So this, in fact, we can hear you fine and dandy. We're looking forward to you coming on the program tonight, Rue. So Barbara's holding your book up, Rutherford Cool. So we're glad you're calling in from Sweden. I wanted to get you right on. So, Barbara, go ahead. You take it from here.
Okay. I've known this marvelous person, Rude, for many, many years, from when I first left the organization, so over 20 years. And he has done a marvelous job on this book. Anything you ever want to know, well, I'm just exaggerating. This is regarding the takeover of the Watchtower. So that it's a big fat book. And a lot went on leading up to that takeover. And so Rutherford was an extraordinarily interesting person, I would think. And there's many sides to this character. So this is the basis for this book. And Rude examines so many of the people that played a part in the takeover of the Watchtower after Russell died. And so Rude is going to discuss some of these outstanding things. I read it, and I learned an awful lot here. So it's kind of settles it for once and for all what happened at the headquarters. There's always been so much not understanding what happened and who was to blame, or if there was any problems, and all. There's always been questions about this takeover. It's the answers are here. The Watchtower secession crisis of 1917 and its aftermath. So we'll talk to Rude about why did you pick this particular subject, Rude? I know you were a fellow cohort with somebody by the name of Carl Olaf Johnson, and you wrote with him. Tell us just that little background, please.
Yeah, well, that was back in the late 80s that I and Carl Olaf Johnson, my close friend from Sweden, we wrote together the book, The Sign of the Last Days, which dealt with wars and earthquakes and famines, etc., etc. And we showed that the claims of the Watchtower Society and the witnesses that our times is worse than any other time, that was not true. And in fact, we would be happy to live now instead of back then. So that book, and Ray France published that book on his commentary press, and well, it's long since passed out of circulation. It's so there are no copies to order from. Well, used copies, of course, very very expensive, but otherwise it's not available.
Okay. And so what made you want to do this on Rutherford?
That was way back. I saw in the history book called Jehovah's Witnesses in the Divine Purpose. I saw there were this power struggle that Rutherford had with the 4 directors in 1917, and these directors, they were painted in such black color that I thought that can this really be so? And there were contradictions as well in that publication about this period, and it was claimed that there was one guy called by the name of Paul S.L. Johnson, who in the end claimed to be something very divine, and I thought, could that be so? And so I wanted to find out, and it was way back in 1973 that I started to investigate, and I got hold of a lot of the contemporary publications that actually is the basis for all history about that period. And it was not until, well, 10 or 12 years ago that I actually started to write the book. And I had then concluded that they have lied about that episode. And people like Carl Olaf Johnson and Jim Penton, they said, you have to write this book because you are the only one who knows about it. So I did, and I came up with this book. It was published about a year ago, and it's available on Amazon. And the company that publishes it was a Hard Publisher. That's Jim Benton's company.
Mm-hmm. Within the book are biographies of the men involved. That was much appreciated that you did that. And so their histories and involvement with the coup is there. Do you also have a biography on the man who actually built the so-called pyramid? And I think that's a very interesting chapter that many people who are searching for answers about why that this pyramid was built, and this was Bonnet. I think I said it right. And John Adam Bonnet. That fascinating chapter. And
everyone says his name is Bonnet. He actually came from Germany. So I say that the family came from Germany. So I think his name would be Bonnet.
Okay, thank you for the correction. And he actually built was behind this whole thing. So that's a fascinating chapter. But what's really fascinating is leading up to the takeover. That is, you have done a marvelous amount of research, step by step, of how Rutherford did this. And after you finish reading, you absolutely are positive this was an illegal takeover. And just even the lies that Rutherford said about Russell's will, you have that chapter. And the 7th volume, tremendous information on the 7th volume. So tell us how you came across all of this, sir.
Well, I studied history, and I got hold of all the material. There are all the pamphlets that were issued in 1917. They are the basis, actually. But then the Watchtower at that time, and other material, and of course, as far as the biographies are concerned, I got very little from those pamphlets. But that's it has become easier nowadays to find out facts about people. And I wrote 20 biographies on those people: Rutherford, Macmillan, Bonnet, or Bonnet, as you say, and Van Amberg,
yes,
Ritchie, who was vice president when Russell died, just to number a few. And these biographies, that I wrote them, and that was really the hardest thing to do. Not the other, about the facts about the takeover. That was relatively easy. I found out the legal things. The Rutherford, he certainly acted illegally, and even when he was elected president in January 1917, that wasn't a matter of that was above board. That they actually they didn't want anyone else to get election to get votes. Of course, many had voted for Alfred Ritchie to be president because he was vice president, and it was stated in there was a local paper in Brooklyn, Brooklyn Daily Eagle,
Right.
It was stated there that he was in line for president. So, of course, he got a lot of votes. But Macmillan, who I would like to call Macmillan, hello? Are you there?
Yes, we're here.
Well, Macmillan saw to it that only Rutherford could be nominated. And in doing so, they also put aside a requirement in the Watchtower Charter that Russell had incorporated in 1884 about the election, about the ballot. The rule about the ballot was set aside, and that was illegal because it should be a vote by ballot. But no, the votes were never counted. They just declared Rutherford elected. And of course, that was something that, of course, was not very popular with a number of people there who thought this was not okay. And Macmillan had said at Russell's funeral, he had told one of the directors, Isaac Hoskins, he had told him, there are the four of you. You should not be on the board. You should resign, and if you don't resign, you will be kicked out. You will be kicked out. And so there was problem. There was trouble coming. They saw to it, and of course, at the election of Rutherford, he had also some bylaws voted on by the audience, and it was accepted. And those bylaws stated that the president should be the manager of the organization of the Watchtower Society, whereas Russell's charter said that it was the board of directors that would rule, not one person. So and the board they accepted that for the time being, but during the summer of 1917 they decided, no, the board is in charge, and we can remove those bylaws. And when they did that, Rutherford decided they have to go, and so he obtained a legal opinion from a lawyer in Pennsylvania, and that lawyer stated that they are not directors in a legal sense, so you can appoint other ones. And he did that, and in the Bethel dining room on July 17, he announced to the family that these guys have been replaced by four others, Macmillan among them. And there was a lawyer there present by the name of McGee, and he was the most brilliant lawyer the movement had, and he was an assistant to the Attorney General in New Jersey. Absolutely, and Rutherford and Russell had consulted him earlier, and McGee said, "This is illegal. You cannot do this." He was taking the law in his own hand, an unlawful thing to do. And he said to those new directors, "Don't accept it. This is illegal." But Rutherford was such a powerful person that he had his way anyway. And of course, there were trouble during the whole year about this. And in the end, in January 1918, Rutherford was elected finally to this, and they did not succeed in putting him away. So, but they were right. they had the right thing. They were in harmony with Russell's with what Russell had stated and what his charter said. And there were many people who sided with them, but they didn't want to leave the society. So most of them stayed for the time being. But there was a movement started in 1918 called the Pastoral Bible Institute, where a few of the directors were members, and also Paul Johnson started another movement, the Layman's Home Missionary Movement, and they still exist. And they published magazine. The Pastoral Bible Institute published the Herald of Christ's Kingdom. And as time went by, they collected many of the people who were not happy with the development under Rutherford. One thing that I particularly find horrifying is that Rutherford claimed when he was put in jail with a number of others in 1918, he claimed that those who had opposed him, that they had betrayed him and the others to the authorities. That was a 100% lie, and I demonstrate that in my book.
Uh-huh. Fascinating. The Russell this organization changed completely to the administration, the way it was run. They had the corporation, and this fellow Rutherford, he used this organization to in a power struggle that went on for quite a while, and changed it entirely to his own type of organization, which it was what he called a theocracy. So there's no comparing the two, the first administration, Russell's, to this one. They each had their a personality, we call it. An organization had its own personality, and people understood that. They knew what Russell was about, and they either loved him or hated him. But Rutherford brought with him an entirely different movement of his own making. And interesting to this day, though the organization has just about disowned Rutherford and so many of the ideas and teachings that he brought in, which you don't get into. Because
I'm going to step in here, Barbara. I'm going to step in here. We got to keep moving forward here. I want to ask Rue. I really appreciate him coming on here tonight. Rue, listen, now you wrote this book, you got the Rutherford coup. Now, we know Rutherford was pretty much a bad man in the Watchtower. We know he really created a lot of issues for Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, that's back in the year, we know in the 1930s, many people left the Watchtower because of him. But let us know, Rue, I want to ask you again, what is the theme of your book, and what are you trying to really let our audience know? What is the theme of the book? What are you trying to let the audience know who reads the book? Go ahead, Rue.
Well, the name is Rutherford's Coup, the Watchtower Succession Crisis of 1917 and its aftermath. And I wanted to show that the history was quite different from what the society has portrayed. It wasn't like what they have said. It was quite different. And to tell you only one little detail, in 1917, Rutherford claimed, in order to get rid of his opponents, he claimed that the law claims that the rectors have to be annually elected. But in 1920, when he felt secure, he changed that and had the directors elected for 3 years, and the law was the same. So he just broke that law then.
That's right.
That was something very horrifying in my view. And yeah, well, keep asking.
Well, so you don't believe that it was Holy Spirit that was there that elected him? What a question.
It was not the Holy Spirit. It was a very unholy spirit.
Absolutely.
Well, Rue, in fact, this is Rick.
If there ever was a crook, it was Rutherford and his yes man. By first and foremost, Macmillan was his assistant in these matters, and also Van Amberg. They were no bright stars, for sure. So, and of course, trouble was haunting them after that, and most of the Bible students from Russell's day left the movement.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So let's just go back here, Rue. I'm glad you came on tonight. I know you're coming in from Europe. We appreciate you coming on. But now you, Rutherford wasn't the greatest man in the world, was he? I mean, we know that. Most people listening to the program know that he created so many issues. He wasn't a good person. I mean, even I heard, and maybe you can confirm this, but when he died, did many people come to his funeral?
It is reported that only a few people came to his funeral, and that funeral was on Staten Island, in New York, and very few people came. He wanted to be buried in Beth Sarim in California, but that was not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And if that had been allowed, there might have been more people. But his body was sent across to New York, and there were a few people following that body to Brooklyn. And
well, Rue, I've got to ask you. I've got to ask you now because it's always been kind of controversial where Rutherford is buried. So, where do you write it in the book?
No. This I'm going to get involved here because this is on the coup. I have heard a rumor that there is something coming out on that by another historian. You know, when you center your attention on one subject,
hold on, Barbara. Let I asked him a question.
Okay.
Where is Rutherford buried?
He is buried in a little where Macmillan also is buried, in that little spot that is a side of a church on Staten Island.
Supposedly, there's a dispute over that. I'm not taking sides. I'm just telling you that's why many books are being written on these topics, and then we can decide for ourselves, right?
Yeah. About Rutherford not being very competent, there is a matter that I bring out in my book. He claimed that when the society was moving to Brooklyn, that there has to be another organization, another society created. And so there was this People's Pulpit Association, which is now the New York Corporation.
Right.
He claimed that. And that wasn't true. It wasn't necessary. And I show that in my book. It wasn't necessary. He was not a competent lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Did you know a man, Rue, did you know a man by the name of Richard Rowie? Did you ever speak with Richard Rowie years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I knew Richard Rowie. We were in touch. In fact, I met him in 1989, and we played table tennis together. So,
yeah.
So I knew him, and we were in touch all along.
Well, the reason why I asked that is Richard Rowie. He used to have a program right here on our Six Screens network, and Richard Rowie was very confident and emphatic that Rutherford was buried in Beth Shan. Are you familiar with Beth? Are you familiar with Beth Shan? Yeah.
I am. There was a very good book written by Gruss on the society that has information on Betran. And yes, I could understand that Richard claimed that. I choose to believe there was another guy who actually followed the body, and Jerry Bergman interviewed that guy, Covington, I think,
Right.
had stated that he was buried. He was buried in New York. So that's why I choose to believe that.
Well, no, this is good. We can.
That is not highly important anyway. It isn't highly important, but I state that in my book. I state that I believe this was so. That he was so. But that doesn't change much anyway. If he was buried somewhere else, which I don't believe, but that wouldn't change his place in history anyway.
That's right. It's while he was alive that had changed millions of people's lives who came in this organization and exited it. So the ideas and the tenets taught that came from Rutherford affected just too many lives in a negative way, and we see the results of his dishonesty when he took over the organization illegally. And so that is the beginning of the end of Russell's organization. And that's why this book is so valuable for people to read who are interested in the history of how Jehovah's Witnesses got to today. You know, Rutherford even invented their name. Of course, that's not in the book, but that's in other books as to all of that.
Who wants to know will find it very, very useful. People may also say, "Well, this is not important," but since they claim that they were appointed in 1919, that story, that background would be absolutely essential.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yes. So we encouraging. Where can people find get your book? Tell us.
Yeah.
Is it on Amazon?
It is on Amazon.
Yes.
You just write in Rutherford's Q and you will find it. You come to Amazon and find it there. And there are three versions of it: the softbound and the hardbound and an ebook.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
In fact, Rue, I tell you, I really like the cover. The cover is very good. That's a beautiful cover. It has a picture of Rutherford's eyes. You can tell it's him. Very good job. So what we're going to do here, Rue, I'll give you another couple of minutes to wrap this up. What would you want people to know? What would you want people to know about reading your book? Why should they read your book, Rue?
Because they would get the facts about the history, and it will show that Rutherford was a crook, and the other guys supporting him were not nice people either. So, and of course, since they claim to be appointed in 1919, earlier they claimed they were appointed in 1918. Well, the facts would say otherwise. So if you want to know, this book is for you.
Yes.
Well, let's see. We got some callers wanting to call in. What do you want to say to Rue? You're on with us tonight. Go ahead, say hello to Rue. You're on the 6 screens right now. Go ahead.
Hello, Rose. Hello, Rose. Hi. This is hi. This is Dick. I have 2 questions for you. Did Judge Rutherford actually pass the bar and become a lawyer? And if he did, could you tell me which college he went to? Thank you.
I say in my book that there is no evidence produced that he ever went to college. He studied law, but he studied law by helping other lawyers and so forth. He studied law, but there is nothing to say that he actually was graduated from a college. I have no. He did study shorthand, and he has some education in that. That's for sure.
He went to a normal school. I
I would
understand that. He went to a normal school. Remember that? The normal school
he went to normal.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And he wanted to. He took a leave from home and to study, but I have no evidence, and I couldn't point to any evidence for his graduation from college.
Right.
Well, how did he get the title judge?
Yeah, well, he on 4 occasions he and like so many other lawyers in that state, he temporarily served as a judge. Temporarily, one day, and 4 times, one day only each time, and he wasn't known as Judge Rutherford in his hometown. That was something he himself that he made claims about that, and of course it's easy to see why that added to his image, and I don't think that was very nice. He shouldn't have done that. Because he never was a real judge. He was only, like so many other lawyers, when needed, they might step in temporarily as a judge.
But again, my original question: did he pass the bar and become
Yeah. He did pass the bar. He did pass the bar. Yeah, he did.
I have a question. My name is Linda. About the 7th volume. The story goes that Russell started it and he finished it off. Is that true? Or because I also think that he kind of just added it on and gave it legitimacy and said that Russell started it. What do you know?
I deal with that in my book. Russell didn't write even one paragraph of the 7th volume as such. He commented on Ezekiel and Revelation, but that was not meant. Those comments were not meant specifically for the 7th volume. So not one paragraph. It was Woodworth and Fisher who wrote the book.
Thank you. That confirms my. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate your wisdom. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, Rue, we got a lot of people that want to speak to you. If you have anyone else, go ahead and come in right now and say hello to Rue. He wrote the book. It's all about the Rutherford coup. We know that was something else. Lots of people left the Watchtower back then. Well, Rue, it's nice that you came on with us tonight. We appreciate it. Barbara and I both appreciate you coming on, sharing your stories with us. And I know that's going to make a big difference. You're helping so many people to understand what's going on. behind the curtains of the Watchtower. So I'll give you another minute or so. We'll wrap it up. Rue, what would you like to say to the audience? Yep.
I would also like to stress that the seventh volume it was Russell worship. It was Russell worship, and there is a statement there in the seventh volume about the text that says that they blaspheme the God, and that God they claim that was Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. It was Russell worship. And those people who were Rutherford's opponents, they saw that immediately. And so they never accepted the book as such. And it took many decades before Rutherford himself came to that conclusion. But eventually, by publishing the book Lights on Revelation and Vindication on Ezekiel, he left the finished mystery behind.
Good question.
Go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead, Daniel.
Is it true that Judge Rutherford was the main one back in the day that really took this fellowshipping to a new level, or even brought it into as part of the Watchtower?
Amazingly, I would say that the disfellowshipping machine really got off in the early 50s.
In Nordor.
There were disfellowshippings, but not that not regulated the way it was later.
52 is when they really came in strong by door.
Yeah. And that has been tougher, much tougher now than it was in Rutherford's day.
Yes. That's a good question, though.
Yeah.
Well, Rue, we're glad you could come on here tonight and talk about these things. We really appreciate you putting forth the effort and writing this book. It's not easy. I mean, it's really not easy writing a book. Barbara, what did you want to say before we wrap this up here and go to the next caller?
Okay. This book has been on Ruth's mind for years, but how long did it actually take you to write it?
10 years.
10 years. And who published the book?
It's Hart Publishers, and that's Jim Penton's publishing company.
Interesting. Good. So are there authors that have something that they feel others should know? Could you? I'm not making a plug-in for Jim Penton, but perhaps they want to consider that publishing by him too. I don't know. I mean, Gary came up with a good suggestion about publishing, and that's what we're here talking about. These wonderful books are being put out there by people who have spent an awful lot of time putting them together, and books can get very expensive. And so to know good publishers and reasonable publishers is very important.
Yeah. Well, Jim Penton wrote a preface to my book also.
Ah, I see. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, anyways, what we're going to do here, Barbara, we're going to cut to Rue loose. We appreciate him coming on. Rutherford Cool, that's the name of his book. So check it out on Amazon. And go ahead, if you want to, buy the book.
621 pages.
Wow. So if you know about Rutherford, that's the book. Rue, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Rude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Okay.
All right, Rue. Well,
our pleasure.
Glad you made it on. You keep waving that flag of victory, and you're a good man, Rue. Don't you ever change.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. Thank you,
So-
Rue. All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
So-
Now,
You're welcome.
well, now we have
Yeah.
Pony. Hang in there, boy. I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to Pony coming on. She's been so patient. She's been a patient lady tonight. Pony, hang in with us. I want to get these we got one more European call, and then we're going to bring you on after him. His name is Barack. I want to get him on because, my goodness, they're like 5 or 6 hours ahead. Barack, are you on with us? Say hello to us.
Hello?
Hello, Barack.
Hello.
Sorry. You hear me?
We can hear you fine and dandy, Barack. So where are you calling in from? Is it France?
Switzerland.
Switzerland. All right. Well, so anyways, we've got Barbara on here. We're glad. I mean, she's been in contact with you. We really appreciate Barbara's efforts doing that. So I want you to I want you to be able to talk with Barbara here and let us know what's on your mind. You got a book. We want to hear about that. So Barbara, I'm going to take it away. Let you talk to Barack.
Hello, Barack. I'm so pleased that you're here. Do you live in Switzerland or do you live in France?
I'm sorry because I am in mountain and connection is very bad. So I don't hear all you said.
Okay. You co-wrote this book, and it came out when in France, in French. When was the book published? And what is the name of your book? I've read the book because that's why you're invited here. And your co-writer, I've talked to her. And so tell us the name of the book.
The book is Remember Sydney, and I wrote it with a friend of mine in it. Yes.
Yes. And what is your background with Jehovah's Witnesses and hers too?
Yes, I was born in Jehovah's Witnesses family, and I used to be a pioneer for 5 years in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, all my family is Jehovah's Witnesses.
I see. Do you have a website?
What?
A website, aren't you? Do you operate a website regarding Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yes, it's baruch.uk.
Food for Thinking Jehovah's Witnesses, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you're the founder and administrator of that website. So you're, so you probably labeled as an apostate, right?
Sorry, it's difficult to understand everything you say.
Okay. Now you have done translating. Okay. We can't hear you. Can you get closer to the microphone?
Hello?
Hello. Tell us why you and your associate wrote this book, Remember Sydney.
Why?
Yes. Why? What is it about?
Yeah. So it's a novel. It's not a story, a true story. It's a novel. But it's about a young woman in a congregation in Switzerland who grows who grew in a Jehovah's Witness family. And when she married, she had some problems, and how can I say? Sorry, my English is not very good. Yes, she has some problems since when she married with because of events of when she was a child.
Yes. The gal that you're writing about is Claire. And of course, this is a fictional name, but what I appreciated in this story, even though it is fictional people, the story is very accurate. You and your associate have correctly outlined the policies and practices of Jehovah's Witnesses regarding how to view those who break the rules in the organization. You describe a young woman who can't adjust to marriage and doesn't know why. And as the story goes on, we find out that she had great trauma in her life when she was young. And it is a intriguing tale that you told, but it's accurate, even though it is a fictional character. Your book came out approximately 2 years ago. It was published 2 years ago in France, or
in France in March 2020. The book was printed in March 2020 in French, and now it has been translated in English a few weeks ago.
And I have, and Rick has the place, if he can put it on or tell people, he will be able to perhaps publish this on his website where the book can be purchased from or ordered from. And in France, it was very popular. I copied some of the statements of those who wrote in who have read the book. Now, this is not a book that just was written solely for Jehovah's Witnesses. It was a book written about Jehovah's Witnesses. So it was read by many, many people. And I copied down some of the statements that were submitted about how people felt about it. One individual from Canada said regarding your co-writer, Ina Quarter, it says, "You should be proud, an extraordinary novel that I enjoyed reading, a must read." Eric Chris in France says, "I'm very happy for your courage and tenacity to see that your efforts and fight against these despicable acts committed against many victims are successful. Congratulations on your work." Another one from Paris said, "This book is absolutely indispensable." Someone else said, "A first novel that is a masterpiece." And Margot said, "A tragic but instructive story." Michael in France says, "For those who are not familiar with the Jehovah's Witnesses, this is a good way to discover how this movement works. Between the control over the life of the members, the ostracism towards those who leave, without forgetting the management of the pedophilia cases, everything is clearly exposed in the form of a novel that one does not let go until the last page. moments of strong emotion, a few tears torn away, punctuated by a touch of humor. I agree. When I read your book, I was deeply moved. Another individual wrote a poignant, gripping, and moving novel. I like the fact that each term of the community is explained at the bottom of the page, which allows us to find our way around. A very nice discovery. The author managed to take me totally into a world I didn't know. So we really appreciate that you have come on here and getting to know you and to see what you and how do you say your associate's first name in English? How do you say that?
It's not her real name.
I know, but how do we pronounce the name she has?
Ini.
Ina?
Ini.
Ini. Okay, Ini. And so the book tells the story of Claire, a young Jehovah's Witness prisoner of her faith. After 3 years of success, the novel has been finally translated into English. We hope to publish it this autumn, 2023. And we're looking forward that you do it. It will take people ordering the book before I don't really understand the publishing reasons that you give for not publishing it right now. But in English, we know it's in French and very successful. So if we order this book with the link you have provided and that Rick will put out there, and then if you have 200 orders, then you will be able to use some sort of a big publishing company. I don't understand that, but I do trust that you know what you're talking about because you are involved in publishing, I understand. Am I not right?
Sorry, the last sentence you said.
You're involved in publishing. Are you not?
Oh yes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I have a printer, so I want to print my book.
Yes. Okay. So this is a deep story about a victim of child abuse who doesn't know that what happened to her early on. It is a mystery. It keeps you. It's a gripping story, and but everything that you describe about how the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses deals with it and how it affects the families of those who are abused is perfectly described, perfectly. And I appreciated it. I couldn't put it down or the manuscript down because it was so accurate. And we really appreciate both of your efforts and also Ina's efforts to put this book out. And it is the non-witness world that's reading this in Europe and beginning to understand the problems within Jehovah's Witnesses towards their own people and the sorry story of how they hide child abuse.
Well, no doubt. I mean, Barack is trying to do the best he can. So basically what we're understanding at this point, the book is not out right now, right? So the book will be coming out.
Well, you can place your order. If we place our orders, the sooner we do that, then they can. Other arrangements are made through another publishing house. I'm not sure of that. I know.
Right. So I'm just wondering. So how are we going to place an order if we
well,
want to? Yeah,
I sent you the link a few hours ago. Perhaps you can put that on your website when you.
Okay, well, what I'll do, if you guys are wanting to get Barack's book, just email me at JW World News, and I'll give you the link. Well,
Yeah.
Barack, I don't want to keep you going. I know you're calling in from overseas, but Barack, take a couple of minutes here and give us your last words here on the 6 screens. Go ahead, Barack.
Yes, I want to say it's not a book only for Jehovah's Witnesses. I just want to say that an old woman, bought me 12 books in French that she gave to her neighbors. So it's a book that he for everybody. For people outside the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I think that Jehovah's Witnesses can read that book, because it's not a book that we didn't write this book with a spirit of revenge. So I think that a Jehovah's Witness can read that book if he wants.
Yes. This information that we're giving out about you guys, you and your associate, is accurate. We trust you. We know you. You have also done translation work for our Jim Penton, and he's very well known in our organization. And so people will have to take my word for it. It is a wonderfully written book. The translation into English is perfect. The nuances and translation from the French into the English are just absolutely perfect. It's very difficult to translate from other languages into English and get the proper nuance so that it's understood correctly, the strange way that Watchtower explains their beliefs and how they so many times misstate their beliefs. They say things that are not accurate and try to fool people.
Hey, Barbara, we got to get moving on here.
Okay, so I just want people to know that you can have confidence and in Barack and his associates book, and I really encourage you to take a second thought if you are thinking about this. Think about it and do something about it, because you will really learn a lot.
Okay, well, that's good. We got a lot of people. We got to still bring people on. We got a lot going on here on the 6 screens tonight. We've got Pony Jean Parker. We're looking forward. In fact, I want to thank you, Barack, for coming on. Barbara as well.
Thank you.
So you just, I wanted to get you on as early as we could, because I know you're coming in from overseas. It's very late over there. So thank you, Barack, for coming on the 6 screens tonight.
Thank you, Barack.
All right. We have got Pony Jean Parker. Wow, Pony, thank you for being so patient. We're going to bring her on. She's wrote a book about the Watchtower, exposing them as a hoax. Do you believe the Watchtower is a hoax? Well, I know Pony Jean does. So we're going to bring Pony Jean on right now. Here she is. Barbara, there you go. That's Pony Jean. There's the book. And I'll put it up there as well. And a hoax, all about a hoax. So Pony Jean obviously is calling the Watchtower a hoax. Barbara, talk to Pony Jean. I'll leave you guys alone. I'll be here if you need me.
Okay. Well, Pony has on the front cover of her book it says it all. A woman's journey to reveal the indoctrination of the Jehovah's Witness cult, addiction, and mental health diagnoses. Tell us the major theme here of your book regarding, because this is a true life story, this is not a novel, and why, what happened to you as an individual that was born into this cult? Okay, so here you go.
So, story of my life.
We can't hear you. I don't know why.
Can you hear me now?
It's hard to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the story of my life. It's my memoir. I'm a fourth generation, now ex-Jehovah's Witness. And I really was trying to convey my story in a way that I could reach others who have been shunned, I guess, is really kind of the main theme of this book, is like my journey through being born and raised Jehovah's Witness, and then having the doubts and, questioning things and realizing things weren't as they were, and leaving and being shunned, and then going through all of that turmoil, losing your family and all those things that come along with it. And I just, as I've gone through my journey, I really wanted to share my story with others so that they wouldn't feel so alone. I guess it was kind of the point of me doing this in the first place. So I wrote the book more focused around kind of the effects that it has on you, mentally and emotionally, from being raised this way and then being shunned and basically trying to figure everything out.
It says, when you're raised in a cult, it is hard to escape indoctrination, but even harder to find yourself, right? Follow Pony Jean's journey of self-realization through, now this is important because that's a theme that you're carrying through the book when I read it, through loss, addiction, and mental health diagnoses, as she allows herself to become vulnerable and worthy of becoming her true self. So many of the those who are raised in this organization have gone through just what I read here, to try to find themselves. That the loss, then there is addiction, there's mental health issues. You certainly do not avoid telling the facts about all of these issues in your life.
Yeah.
And I have to give you a lot of credit. You went through a lot. I have, last year, my husband and I lost 4 people to suicide who were in this organization. And so we really, really appreciate the problems with the mental health for those who are raised in it.
Right. Yeah. So that was, one of the things when I first, so I go through it in the book. When I first was coming out of the cult and was shunned by my family, I didn't understand or realize that other people had been through it or were going through it. So like I felt like I was the only person, and it was such a deep, dark, isolated place that I found myself, which then fed into the addiction, my mental health issues, and I just kind of rode that train of addiction for years, like masking everything. And then it got to the point where, trigger warning, but as you explained, I did have multiple suicide attempts, and I give a very detailed experience of my addiction. And I have even in there, when I was locked up in a mental hospital, and went to rehab for 36 days. And in sharing this story, I could not do it unless I did it completely raw, because I had not found anything yet. And I'm not trying to take away from anybody else's book or experience, but I had not found anything yet that was like this raw and like open about it. Like I have, which you've read the book, the back end of the book is all of it's actual photocopies of all my
Yes.
So you can see like, this is like legit, like this is what happened, because I feel like I couldn't do it any other way if I wasn't honest, to really show. Yeah, I had to block out people's names because I didn't want to get sued.
In
But
mental health facilities and therapists and so forth. It's quite a resume. Oh my goodness.
yeah, I mean,
But it worked. It worked.
Yeah, I'm glad. I've had some really good feedback about it. Really, the whole point of writing it is to help bring comfort to others.
Yes.
In a way that I never had, because just sitting and thinking about others feeling how I felt, like, just breaks my heart. And to think, like you mentioned, your friends that you lost to suicide, and like it's just such a like common thing that's happening now, and probably has always been. It just never was talked about, for being completely honest. But and on top of that, just the stigma and stereotype around mental health when you are Jehovah's Witness. I just remember, like, if you were ever sad or depressed or had anxiety, I was told to just go read my Bible and go pray to Jehovah and he would fix it. And like, that's not realistic,
Mm-hmm.
And that's how people ended up going down roads that they shouldn't have been going down. And I just really wanted to share my story.
And alcohol played a part in all of this too, and that is something that the women who are Jehovah's Witnesses can easily fall into alcoholism.
Yes.
Very unhappy. Each of us have personality of some sort that we have to find as we grow, find out what we're good at, and a place for ourselves. Well, we can't have that when we're a witness. As we grow, it's all outlined by the rules for us, and so many don't fit that. And the sad, sorry thing about this is the alcoholism, the hidden alcoholism, with our women.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was something that I definitely found my place in. I write in the book, I started drinking when I was 13. It was actually my dad's drinking buddy, oddly enough. And for me, it's so normalized. And then after, everything went down, not only did I lose my family, but my family had my children legally taken from me. So I lost my entire family and my 2 children on the same day. And it was just like a hard cut, like that was it. So drinking really, I just went full blown into it at that point, because I tell people drinking is not the answer. It's definitely not the answer, but I would be lying if I said it didn't work for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I used it as a way to escape and not have to think about what had happened, and it's such an easy advice for people to use in our situations.
Well, we really understand this. I was at headquarters and dealing with the child abuse situation when there was some progress made, and the year that they had a elders a school, I think it was 94, I think. They finally said to the elders that the people can seek out mental health clinicians. Before that, it was looked down upon, like you said.
Yeah.
Read the Bible, go to meetings, and go out in service. That was the solution. It was no solution, as you know.
Right.
And so my heart goes out to you on this issue. And the other thing is, too, you're open here about searching for love, searching for someone to make you happy. See, we're not happy when our lives are laid out for us. We have to we have the responsibility and also a natural ability to find ourselves. And
right.
happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely went down that journey of trying to figure myself out, and I went down the journey of trying to find replacements for my family and finding men to fill voids in my life from family and from other relationships. And I think I included all those things to show just a natural progression of kind of like all the different phases you go through, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It wasn't just like this easy road where one thing very perfectly led to another. I literally was just like this all over the place for years. So,
Yes.
and I wanted to like convey that, because I think since I've been in the XJW community, which has been about 5 years, I think, since I really understood that there was like an actual community out there, there's so many people out there that think that the way they think is they're the only person, or that they think there's just this straight line that you have to be on in order to like be okay, or to like be okay from whatever happened. And it's like, no, I want you to see like it's chaotic, and like that's just normal healing, whether it's within this cult or just, in the world, like it being a general person.
Yeah, there's not one fix for all, is there?
Right. No.
Yeah. No, we're all so different. But
Yeah.
your determination is outstanding in this book. And I mean, you zigged and you zagged and you zigged.
Yeah.
And most of us zig and zag. We just don't tell everybody else, And you do tell the whole picture of a woman who is trying to find herself.
Yes.
I have met so many since came out of the witnesses over 20 years with the business of child abuse. How many lost souls? But when they get out of this religion and they find their needs are filled according to what they desire to be happy. And I get these wonderful messages like, I am happy. Thank you so much for coming out and talking. And of course, that makes me feel useful and good. But I did this because my heart broke. My heart broke when I was talking to those who I didn't know. My husband was an elder. I didn't know there was all these issues. It was hidden from. I was an elder's wife for years and years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So this is a very excellent book for both men and women, especially who are raised in this organization.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us some more things that helped you. That really helped you
So I think honestly, for the longest time, I kind of got stuck in a place where I didn't feel like I could move past, because I still was, even though I was learning new things and experiencing new things, I was somehow reverting and relating it back to everything that I was indoctrinated with growing up. Like subconsciously, I was doing that. So for me, I didn't really get to a place where I could truly take steps forward and move and grow and heal until I came and realized within myself that I had to let go of everything that I had learned in this cult and start over, essentially. I mean, my brain was just still wrapped up in it all. And I just was still like I would think to do something to help myself, and the thoughts in the back of my mind would be like, you're not allowed to do that, and I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no, I'm allowed to do it. I'm an adult.
Yes.
And it's easier said than done, believe me, because I spent many years in that area of like just tormenting and beating myself up because I was trying to do these things. Like I had made friends who were, quote unquote worldly, and I would go out with them and have fun. And then the next day I couldn't leave my bed because I felt so much guilt for being a horrible person, for going out with worldly people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I really I know I feel like I'm repeating myself, but if you read it, there's times when I think about the book and I'm quite terrified at how honest I was in realizing how much detail of things that I put in it.
Yeah, you talked about your personal life, and none of us really want other people to know.
No,
Our thoughts
no.
and vicissitudes, but you did it in a way that I think is helpful, especially as that last chapter. I mean, the one before you have all the documents there of documenting your hospitalizations and all of that. But your epilogue was very good, and I thought, and so it was a good short. I mean, epilogues don't have to be short, but I thought yours was very, very good. You put a lot of hard work into this, and you said, I found me. You found yourself.
I found myself.
Yes. And you talk about that you face up that you're not perfect.
No.
Yeah. And see, in the organization, we are constantly feeling guilty because we never do enough.
Right. I think, being raised in it, I always knew I wasn't perfect, and I always knew I was in a fight the rest of my life trying to be perfect. But in the sense of what's wrong with me, I'm not perfect. Where then as I grew and did my own journey and healing, it was, I'm not perfect and that's okay. And there was the grace as opposed to the torment.
The saddest thing is that that I noted that the literature of Jehovah's Witnesses has this marvelous theme of a wonderful future, hope, tries to say nice things in there and helpful things to us. But on the other side of the coin, it's destructive in that it's condemnation. So if you don't do what is laid out there mentally and in your actions, you're condemned. So instead of condemnation, we do the best with commendation, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
and so you begin to do that. You, in your book, you begin to commend yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Because I start to, like I said, give myself that grace because I understand. Whereas before, I mean, this all stems from childhood. Like when I remember being like 8, 9, 10, questioning everything, and it didn't make sense to me. And because I knew I wasn't allowed to question it or say anything, I just assumed that God was going to kill me and he hated me. And like, if you really stop to think about a child walking around with that idea in their head, it's mortifying. Like the realization of that's what's happening to those who are born and raised into it, that they're like going through their childhood thinking like that is like not okay.
No, it isn't. And in my case, I didn't have that because I converted to this when I was 14.
Yeah.
And I had a normal child. I just wanted to see justice. The Watchtower showed that we'd have justice in a new world. But I was raised with feeling comfortable with myself because my parents were like that. You know, they liked me as I was. And there wasn't criticism all the time. So I wasn't soul searching all the time. And so I was looking at the religion from an entirely sort of natural way. It was offering. I didn't see what I did to my own son, actually. I raised him with always trying to be please Jehovah. And it was a very, all of us parents who were active witnesses felt obligated to train our children like that. And it doesn't work on all children. A majority it doesn't. They have to find out how to make choices and that choices are not given to children. You do
Right.
it or you're going to die.
Yeah. And that's, I think I've, for the most part, can say I've rectified my thinking on that, but there's definitely still times where it kind of creeps back up a little bit. And now it's just, I can recognize it as a thought and not a truth. Where before it was always just on me so heavy like a truth. And yeah, I really just, it's kind of a funny story. So it took me 2 years to write this book. I was going to write it for myself because of my trauma and PTSD. My memory is not the same as it was. And I had a friend who knew a publisher, and I was put in contact with her just so she could give me advice on like how to write it so it sounded like a story, I guess. I don't really know what we were trying to do. And I told her the story on a 2.5-hour phone call, and she was like, I have to have this book. I need to publish this. And I was like, oh, okay, now I have to write it. This is great. So in writing it, I really was just full force, like, what can I give to others to help them? It has nothing to do with me. I just want to show as much as I can so that they can see like all the deep, dark, ugly parts. And like, it's been so healing for me too, because I've had so many people reach out to me since it came out who have read it. And they're like, I'm so grateful because I've always thought these things and felt like this, and I never thought anyone else did. And I'm like, that alone is worth, and that has nothing to do with me. I take no credit for that. Like, I'm just glad that they feel that way and they have that opportunity.
Well, you of course, Jehovah's Witnesses children are not alone in this.
Right.
See, you use the word religious trauma.
Correct.
On the back cover. And I thought that was excellent. I'm going to use that.
Yes.
Because it is the Amish. I don't want to be picking, and there are these groups that the children feel identical to what Jehovah's Witnesses children, or as they're growing, they feel lost. And they don't know who they are because they don't make the decision to choose a religion. And in some other countries now in Europe, it's against the law to make your child choose, or they don't choose, and make them join a religion as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is calling into question in these countries that it's illegal. I was told in Kazakhstan it's illegal.
Yeah.
So you see the results of putting your will on someone who you birth, but is not necessarily likes the same thing you like. I was happy with religion, but that doesn't mean my son or daughter could be happy. Well, in my case, my son was very happy and his mother was not happy as she got older. Isn't life strange?
Yeah, and along with that too, I just don't understand. And I know that I'm a victim of it, but I've talked to, as I've gone on in my life, and I've made friends with people who were not ever in high control religion or anything like that. It's just the fact alone of like willingly bringing your child into a religion that teaches you that if they do one thing wrong, you just dispose of them out of your life. Like, being a mother myself and knowing that my parents were able to do that to me is just so mind-blowing that I don't understand how people can look at that and be like, that sounds right. Let me sign up for
that. You have 2 children?
I do.
Okay. Do they shun you, or what is their?
So I have contact with one of them. One of them I do not.
Mm-hmm. So,
and I do talk about it briefly in the book. The book kind of ends on a good note with me reuniting with my son, as he's now an adult. And my daughter and I still have no contact with each other, but she is currently living with her dad's parents, and her grandfather's an elder.
I see.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
we all know why that's how it is now. So, I'm hoping in time. She's an older teenager, so I'm hoping in time it will change. But I definitely have a better outlook on it now, even as opposed to like 5 years ago. I just thought I would never see him or talk to him again, and what was the point of being here on Earth, you know?
Well, we have to respect their choices too.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
With our son, so he's made a choice, and I believe in freedom of choice.
Yeah.
So I got a question though. I think maybe some others would like to have an answer. Tell us about your name. I'm not laughing at the name.
I know.
Please, I think it's very, it's sweet, you know.
Yeah.
But why are you named Pony?
So I'm sure most of you have already been wondering and probably already figured.
You've been asked this question many times.
I've been asked this question every day, but it's okay. So Pony, it did start off as a nickname. It's not my birth name. I call it my real name. When I was transitioning from being in the cult to leaving, I had the opportunity to go back to school, and I started doing hair. I got my cosmetology license, and I really started playing with and testing those waters of like actually leaving. So my first step into like freedom, as I kind of refer to it in the book, is the first hair salon that I worked for, and they gave me that nickname without my choice. And it was one of those that just everyone grabbed onto, and it stuck. And like, it stuck with every single person I met without my choice after that. So it was almost like a rebirth. And it was just, that's who I was. So I did have it legally changed just because nobody ever called me my birth name. And I didn't like being attached to my family, by the family name.
Well, my comment here is we all love ponies.
We do love ponies. And it's fun. Like, no one ever forgets my name.
Well, listen, that's true. That's true. So, all in all, how is life treating you now?
It's really good. It's I still have really bad times. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say everything's perfect now, but I still have moments of, you know, weakness and fallbacks and stuff. But I understand that that's normal and natural, and it's gonna happen. But I definitely am in such a better place, and I talk about it in the book. I know this is probably going to be subject to discussion, but COVID was really like the best thing that happened for me, because it forced me to really, really sit with all of this and heal and grow from it. So that's where my kind of transformation really happened. And it's really just gone up from there. And with writing this book and releasing this book, in pre-sale, it was #1 in 8 categories on Amazon. And like,
very, very,
it was like the craziest thing. And it honestly, the best part of all this is knowing how many people I've helped, and it has nothing to do with me. I'm just glad that they feel better, you know, and I don't take any credit for that. And it's just,
well, you should.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm meaning, and like, it's not an egotistical
well,
thing.
you bared your soul out there, and you're helping other souls. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah. So
you know, life is an adventure. You never know where it's going to lead you, right? You
yeah,
never know.
Times of moments where I've kind of paused and I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I just tell everybody? A little bit, but it's been really good. It's been really good. I'm really glad that I went forward with doing it. Yeah.
So how can people get a copy of your book?
So it is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It is, you can get an ebook or you can get paperback, hardcover, and my publisher and I are in the process of having it done as an audiobook because that's been requested a
Oh,
lot.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, so we're trying to find someone to do it. I opted out of doing it. So we're trying to find someone to do it.
Mhm.
So, because we've had a lot of requests for that, but
So
Well, let me jump in here, Barbara.
we'll let a man speak up here.
Yeah, so Pony, we're really, I mean, I'm impressed. You're quite the lady. You're willing to
thank
come on. You're willing to come on and let people know that you've been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. So
Yeah.
I'd like to, we have a lot of people calling in. We have a number of different platforms that we're on. So we do have a radio telephone network. So would you like to say hello to Pony? My goodness, she's been coming on here tonight. She's a brave woman. Why don't you speak up? Let's say hello to Pony. Go ahead and hit *6. Say hello to Pony. Would love to have you call in and ask Pony a question. What do you think? Isn't she a brave lady for doing this? I believe she is. So go ahead, say hello to Pony. You're on with us. I believe we have Chicago, Illinois 630. Go ahead. You're on with us.
Hello, Rick. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
How's it going, Rick? It's Mark. As you may know, Mark Taft. I hope you're doing very well in every good and positive way, Rick. I call in, always touch base with you every week. And so far, you got a great show going tonight. I like it a lot, and it's very interesting and very educating. And I like it. It's awesome. So, yeah, you're bringing on some really excellent, totally awesome guests, Rick, and you're doing a fantastic, really beautiful job, Rick. So thank you so very much always.
Yeah,
And,
so I just want to say now we have this lady,
a lot.
this lady Pony. She's on with us tonight. I mean, isn't it brave when people come on and speak up, Mark? Isn't it great that we
Absolutely.
have isn't it wonderful we have people speak up about what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower?
Yes, it is. And I've been waiting to hear this for many, many years, Rick. I knew it was going on. I just couldn't prove it. But I have been waiting for many, many years, practically my whole life, to finally be hearing people speak up and tell their stories and be, obviously be truthful, but also really speak up and let their stories be known. Let it go public. Let the public know. Let the public hear about it. Let us all know and really speak up and tell your stories. Don't be hiding them like people did for many, many years. But speak up. And I knew those stories were out there. It was just a matter of time when people were going to start talking and start speaking up and being more, truthful and honest, like really being very, very public about all of this. And I'm very impressed with that, Rick. I mean, I spoke up when I was a teenager, but nobody listened to me. Nobody listened to me at all. Nobody bought my story. Nobody believed me. I told the truth. I was very, very truthful, but nobody believed anything I said in regards to Jehovah's Witnesses or the Watchtower or the governing body or anything. Just nobody was listening to me, even though I was speaking up on a regular basis all the time. I was one of the very few who was speaking up. You know what I'm saying, Rick? So I'm very impressed that people are finally doing it.
Well, we got a guest coming on tonight, Pony. She's in agreement with you, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for calling in. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so very much. God bless you, Rick.
Oh,
Always.
thank you. Okay, so we do have 978. You want to come in 978? Go ahead. You're on with us. I think that's Susan.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you,
Is that,
Susan.
is that me? Oh,
Yeah, Susan, you're my wife. There you are. Come on. Say hello.
no, I'm so impressed with Pony and the way that she really bears it all, but with poise and in a very smooth way. I'd like to know, Pony, because it seems that you've gone from victimhood to victory. What would you say were some of the most effective tools you used for making the transition from being a victim of the Watchtower to leading a successful life?
So I'll be completely honest with you. Probably the biggest difference for me was really putting myself through serious therapy. It really forced me to do the work within myself and to realize some of the patterns and the things that I had to unlearn. And I never would have done that if I did it by myself. Like I needed a professional to help me walk through this. So that's definitely what helped like set that foundation. And then from there, it was just instead of looking at it as like, I was shunned and I'm like thrown out over here and now I have to figure it out. I changed my perspective to, oh my goodness, I get to do whatever I want and I can discover all these really cool things. And I looked at it as this super exciting journey ahead of me. So it was like my perspective as well that made that difference.
So you're saying your perspective, you changed your perspective is what you did, but you needed therapy to do it. My question about therapy is sometimes people go into therapy and they feel like they're teaching the therapist how to counsel Jehovah's Witnesses because they're not really familiar. How did you go about choosing your therapist?
So for me, I always tell people it's definitely, you can't just pick a therapist and then go and then feel like it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean therapy doesn't work for you. It's almost like you have to like audition therapists. It sounds weird, but that's just how that goes. When I first started therapy, it was still much more of a taboo subject of like religious trauma and being in high control religions. I know now it's definitely more of a trained type of therapy. So there are therapists out there. If you search, you can even go on Psychology Today and search for therapists that are trained in religious trauma. They have more knowledge and background of what it means to be within a high control religion.
Specialize in religious trauma.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So the therapist should specialize in religious trauma.
Yeah. That would be my opinion, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Pony.
Of course.
Well, Pony, I mean, how could we forget a name like Pony? I mean, that's a wonderful name. I like that name. I mean, I don't know anybody else that uses the name Pony, so that's good. Well, my goodness, you're a brave woman, Pony. You really, really are for disconnecting from the Watchtower and willing to come on and talk about it. So, what would you like our audience to know tonight? Tell us, give us a little synopsis. What if we got a lot of people listening in? We got also people listening in that are Jehovah's Witnesses that haven't left yet. They're listening in tonight to our 6 screens. So what would you tell the world of the witnesses tonight, Pony? Go ahead, tell us.
To like all the witnesses that are listening, I would tell you it's okay to question and okay to feel how you feel, and you need to find a way to think for yourself and to figure it out. And I know that's so much easier said than done. The whole point of sharing my story was to be able to connect with others, to make them feel like they're not so alone and isolated, and those who are in that deal with mental health. And it's just like a little life raft in a way. That sounds really strange, but there's just so much loss in this world from people feeling like they're not good enough to be here anymore because of having been raised this way and the way that they think. And it just breaks my heart. And I had to do this to help try to make a difference for that to stop happening. Like if I could try.
Well, we've got Apostle Babe. Why don't you come on, say hello to Pony? Apostle Babe, come on, say hello to John. Say hello to Pony. Well, Pony, we got people want to speak up. Apostle Babe, you want to say something to Pony? Go ahead. Well, for some reason, we're not connecting with her. She's unmuted. So, Pony, I mean, it's really amazing. I mean, to be able to come on and talk about the things you do, we really give you a lot of kudos for doing that. You're a wonderful lady, and I know you're helping a lot of people. Your book can help a lot of people. So if we have some more comments, let's go with it. We have Linda James. She's a pasta babe. Pasta babe, you on with us? Go ahead. Well, for some reason, she's not. I don't know why. I mean, that this is technology, right? This does happen. So, anyways, well, we really appreciate you coming on, Pony. So, thank you very much for coming on the Six Screens here tonight and being with our
Of
program.
course.
Yes.
Thank you guys for
Yes.
having me. I appreciate it.
We know that this book will help those who are needy in this direction.
Mhm.
There are many people who are Jehovah's Witnesses that love being Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there are those children that grow and they are happy with it.
Yes.
But they shouldn't be punished if they're not happy, punished through shunning and made to feel like you were made to feel.
Right.
So we respect the rights. That's the whole deal here.
Mhm.
We respect the rights of a person to make a choice. Watchtower is going to finally do that one of these days because they're not growing. There was a convention just recently. They expected 16,000 and only 3,000 showed up, or 4,000 showed up. That's a clue that something is wrong.
Right.
And I'm not against religion, and neither are you.
Right.
But we are against using religion to promote our particular views and force others to
Correct.
those views. So you.
We got Linda James, a pasta babe. Did you want to come on? We got
Yeah.
Linda, come on. Linda James, come on.
I wonder what that is.
I have no idea. It's making all kinds of noise here. But anyway, she wants to come on, but we'll let her go with that. So, Pony, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Pony. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, everybody, she's a Tennessean now.
I
She's
am.
a California girl who is now a transplanted, and she's in Tennessee. And of course, that's where I live too. But
Yes, we're not far from each other.
that's right. And but we came from other east and west originally, and landed in the middle. And so it's been a pleasure to get to know you.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
reaching
you
out
guys
to me.
having me on and talking about the book. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. And you get to the point you won't be talking about the book because you won't need to talk about the book. You'll be just talking about tomorrow or what you're doing. And, so this is just that, what transition means.
Yeah.
So, it's going to happen to you where you won't need these things, but others are going to need what you are offering here. And that's a way to go to be happy. Happier. Okay.
Well, thank you, Pony, for coming on here tonight. We really appreciate it. Yeah, we had Linda want to talk, but she's having some trouble with the phone. But don't be a stranger now, Pony.
I won't.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I guess we have 916. I guess it's Kim. Go ahead, Kim. Yep. Go ahead.
Hi. I just wanted to thank you, Pony, for writing this because it sounds like a book that's going to really help people because a lot of times the way things are written, it's sort of sterile and it's not going to actually reach them deep inside how they actually could relate to their life. And I know myself, like there's a lot of things that I don't see anything touching it, and it's like, well, how do I relate that to my issues, And I did get therapy. The only trouble is I didn't relate it to that. And even though I was faded for a while, it's like Pony. Anyway, so I just thank you because I think that it's going to actually help people. They're going to relate a lot of people that don't with other books. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And
Thank
so even if it's where there might be things where you're like, oh, why did I write that?
Yeah.
I hope it does help you to know it might reach people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people are going to be like, oh, wow, I did that too. You know you're going to reach people. It
Yes.
is. There's going to be people that have had the same thing. So, and I had a friend too that I have lost contact with her only because I moved here and I don't have the car that gets me there. And but this is a friend that she had a lot of things where she had to be hospitalized a lot of times, and now I'm trying to find her again. Because I supposedly when I moved here I was trying to obey the brothers, okay?
Yeah.
And now I feel so ashamed having done that because it wasn't someone inside. And now I don't feel like I deserve a friend outside because of that, but hopefully when I do find her, because she moved, and just I can't figure out how I could get her, locate her, but I have to try to realize, I was trying to obey them, but at the same time, maybe when I do tell her what happened, she'll understand because of the coercion that we get inside. Right. It's so deep, being born in, that we'll do almost anything practically. And that's the thing that we're learning now, like, wow, I went that far, So
yes.
we are learning.
Yes.
Sorry to talk so much.
No, you're fine. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I hope you do find her. We all were in that state of mind at some point. So like we all understand,
Yes. Yes.
So, but I do appreciate your work, and I'm going to get that book too.
Thank you.
I'm reading much right now. And my Kindle is getting all this. Oh, you just reached a milestone. All this kind of stuff. So, but that's how I'm also learning to get through things. So, and art and other things.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I don't want to keep talking too much, but I did want to call in. It did take a little convincing. I was nervous again. So some of us are nervous to call. I just want you to know. But we wanted to call in. What's the problem? It doesn't always happen.
It's totally okay because I was super nervous to be here. So we are all nervous together.
Well, we appreciate the comments, appreciate those who share their lives with us, and we feel like we have new friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've spread out the happy face, So if you have anything you want to say it now. And if not, then it's time for, we have one more individual. And this time we're going to listen to a man. And, but he's going to talk about not his personal life. He's going to talk about his novel, and but it's different, and it's called Armageddon's Disciples. So Pony, you might really enjoy this book. This book I couldn't put down. When my husband would go to bed at 10:30 or 11, I'd stay up to midnight every night and read because I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
So, but this is another angle to do with religious trauma. Mm-hmm. So, I like those two words. Thank you for introducing them and putting them together.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I have to say, really, Pony made a big impression here on the six screens tonight. Lots of people were listening in, and thank you very much for sharing your story with us. Now,
Of course.
Barbara, I think you were referring to Jeff coming on.
Yes.
So, Jeff, are you there with us? We had him earlier, then somehow he disconnected, but I'm not sure why. But we did have him on the six screens video suite. He was in the green room, which is backstage, but he seemed to disappear. But let me just say, thank you, Pony, for coming on the six screens tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Yes.
guys
Thank
so
you.
much.
Good night, Pony.
Bye.
Good night, Pony. All right. Well, Barbara, I don't know what Jeff is, but really, there's so many books that have been written about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, you know probably more than I do, but why don't we open up the lines? Let's see what people are thinking about tonight. You know, many people have read a lot of other books other than the ones that came on here tonight. So let's open up the lines. Let's see what people have been reading. Let's see what they think about the books that have been written about the Watchtower. So let's open the lines right now. Go ahead. You're on with us. Let us know what you think. Go ahead.
I'm going to start off by letting everyone know that YouTube has an audio version of Crisis of Conscience and also an audio version of In Search of Christian Freedom.
Very good.
So, well, hold on, Pixie. Let me just bring you on here. What do you think these books are helping people get out of the Watchtower?
They really are, and years ago you were kind of alone, but both of the Ray Franz books are in audio book form on YouTube for free, and the Barbara Harrison book, Visions of Glory, is free as a book download.
Wonderful.
You don't have any money.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey. So don't say my name. I know Rick knows me. It's lots of complicated. My brother came to me and said, "Do you know there's an audiobook called Crisis of Conscience on Spotify?" And my brother has been disfellowshipped for years, and he's now like mentally out because he found Ray Franz's book on Spotify. And it's just some dude reading it. Yes, this is helping me. He's been disfellowshipped, but he's now like full physically out, mentally out. And it's really good to have my brother back. It's so nice.
Well, that's
It's good to know.
well, that's a really good feeling, isn't it, to have your brother back? So they're reading these books. The books are making a difference. Let's go with 425. You want to come on, 245? Let us know what you think. 245. All right. Let's go with 978. We got 978. Go ahead. You're on with us. I think that's my wife. Go ahead.
I think it is if it's okay. There were two books that really did it for me, that really helped me to wiggle my way out of the Watchtower. And though Crisis of Conscience was good, my favorites were Captive of a Concept by Don Cameron and The Four Presidents of the Watchtower by Edmund Gruff. And the first one, Captives of a Concept, it's about Matthew 24, 45 through 49, where the Watchtower claims that scripture that they're the faithful and discreet slaves. But they forget that though they claim that they have also said that Jesus came invisibly in 1919 and was supposed to go to the one true church, which was them. But in 1919, they still celebrated birthdays. They had Christmas, New Year's. They still had blood transfusions, different things like that. And so how could they be a true church for practicing these things in Jehovah's Witness standards? So that kind of woke me up. And then The Four Presidents of the Watchtower talks about the first four presidents and their lives and how unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Rick 425 is Jeff Thomas's area code.
Yeah, we lost Susan there, but that's okay. So let's move on here. Uh, yeah, there's so many books that have been written about the Watchtower, and many people have been finding they've been helping them get out. We've got Jeff coming on here. Jeff Thomas, hold on. We're going to get you on very shortly. So who would like to speak up right now? We've got what book have you written, or at least read, that has helped you get out of the Watchtower? Got a lot of background noise going on here. Okay, so we're going to stop right here.
Oh, hi, Rick.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Rick. Yeah, background noise might be me. It's Tim calling from Australia. Just quickly, I was going to mention the Crisis of Conscience on YouTube too. There was one that was like the whole thing, but it had like a computer type of a voice I found really annoying. But then I found another one on the channel's called David and Vivian Aspinall, and they've got a Crisis of Conscience series.
Whoop. I'm not sure what happened there. We might have gone off for a while. So let's see what happens. I think what happens here, folks, stay with us. What happens every 6 hours that we're on, the telephone line goes off. So we're going to bring that on right now.
Welcome into the
So
live
stay with us.
conference call.
Don't go anywhere.
We thank you for joining in.
We'll get the people right back on. What happens is the conference call telephone line goes off every 6 hours. So let's just wait and see what happens. We'll bring it right back on. Stay with us.
Picks up on all noises in the background. We hope you enjoy the programs tonight. You will now be placed into the conference.
If you are the host, press stop now. Please enter your... Thank you. There are 9 participants in the conference. Recording did not start because your storage is full. Please log in and delete recordings or purchase more storage from your account.
Well, don't worry, folks. We got plenty of storage in here, but they're just mixed up here. So, anyways, we've got we're back on now, Susan. So don't worry about it. So, can you hear us now? Yeah. What happens is the phone line goes off every 6 hours, but I do believe we're on now. So let's see what's going on.
Oh, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. But we have different platforms here, so I just want to make sure the phone line's working. Susan, are you on the phone line? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I am. I got cut off just as I was.
Okay, so you're on there. I just want to make sure people can hear us. Okay, so the phone line's back.
I can hear you, Rick.
Okay, thank you. We have like 7 different platforms that we're working on, so I just want to make sure people can hear us on the different ones. Wow, my goodness, what a program tonight. Who'd like to speak up? You're on with us right now. You heard Pony. She told her little story. So what are you guys thinking? We got Barbara Anderson on with us as well. So what would you like to say to the audience tonight? Come on, say hello to us. You're on 6 screens. Don't be bashful.
Yeah, hello, Rick.
Yes.
Hello, Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, hi. It's Tim from Australia calling. Yeah, I think I must have got cut off there. I just had a comment about the audio book, Crisis of Conscience. That was one I'd come across. There is one on YouTube, and it was kind of a monotone computer voice I found really hard to listen to. But then I found the channel called David and Vivian Aspinall, and they had like a whole like one of their playlists is Crisis of Conscience, where they've got 5 to 10 minute segments, and they read it out, and then he has a brief commentary on it. And so if you put on autoplay on YouTube, it just works its way through. And otherwise, for someone that doesn't have time to actually ever read like me, it's just a good way if you can find something that you can listen to. And I found it to be a very interesting book. And obviously a lot different than what any witness would ever have portrayed Ray Franz as being. They probably always portrayed him as being the hateful apostate, but no, he seems to come across as a genuine guy that really had faith in the Bible and God, and that is why he left. So yeah, that's all I had to say on that anyway. But thanks, Rick. It's been a good program. I've been listening to the whole thing.
Well, thank you for calling in from Australia. Really appreciate it. But, we got people listening in here tonight. Maybe they have a favorite book. I'm going to put my book up right here. This book right here, if you can see it. Oh my goodness. That's the book I want you to see. That's Dr. Jerry Bergman. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. He has been on numerous times here on the 6 screens. And I have to tell you, the name of the book is Jehovah's Witnesses and the Problem of Mental Health. Oh, mental illness. Does that exist in the Watchtower? You better believe it does. As a matter of fact, he's saying that the mental illness rate in the Watchtower is 4 times more than normal religions. So that's the book right here. But, this program we had here tonight, I think we're going to continue this probably every couple of months. Authors that have written books concerning the Watchtower. What I'm going to do right now, we do have Jeff Thomas. Now, he's also an author. He's written a book about the Watchtower. Why don't we bring Jeff on? Barbara can talk with him. Jeff, you're on with us. Hello, Jeff.
Hi, we made it. I was
Hey,
in here pushing buttons frantically and yelling at you.
Well, we heard you.
Well, I made it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So Jeff, I'm going to cut you loose here with Barbara. So let us know what's going on. Barbara will work with you. You've written a book as well. Barbara, what's the title of that book?
Armageddon's Disciples.
I like that term, Armageddon's Disciples. Well, Barbara, I'll cut you loose. Talk with Jeff. See what's on his mind tonight.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. He's got such a good mind.
Well, thank you.
Okay. I couldn't put this book down. This is, in fact, after I finished it, I gave it to my sister-in-law to read, and she said, "You're right, I can't put this book down." So, of course, that's 2 people, but I expect others are going to say the same thing. It's a whodunit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You tell us a little bit about it instead of me telling them. I could read back. Let me read a little bit about this. It says in the back, when 3 disciples of the Word of God Foundation discover 17-year-old Alice Lottie dead in their meeting hall, police detective Ed Franklin quickly finds a tangled web of toxic relationships, sexual abuse, blackmail, murder, and bizarre failed prophecies. Unable to penetrate the disciples' closed world, Ed recruits his neighbor, Keith Thornton, a former member, to guide him. One thing we're going to learn right away, that Keith Thornton, a former member of the Disciples sect, is being ready to be done in discipleship, but it's not called that in this book. But he helps solve some mighty intriguing mysteries that end up in murder. So, why did you do this? What and who are the disciples in reality? In your reality, maybe.
In reality, there are no disciples. I invented this church or religion, however you want to put that, specifically for this book because I wanted to make it about something bigger than just the Watchtower. All the things we've been talking about here tonight are getting repeated probably 1,000-fold every night somewhere in the world. There are groups that do these things that nobody knows about. So I wanted to sort of have a generic enemy here so that people could read this and not get caught up in the details of would this group do this or that. And also, hopefully, maybe some people would go, gee, is this anything like the religion that I belong to, the church that I go to? Because I look out around the world and there are churches everywhere that are abusing people, stealing money, whatever. There's a lot of abuse out there, and I was trying to draw attention to that, and I figured a made-up religion would be a way to do that. I also had some fun with a few aspects with the failed prophecies. I started playing around with the year to the date, day for a year kind of thing. And I finally concluded that I could predict any given year in all of history would be the end of the world and cough up some kind of biblical excuse for how that would happen. And that part was just sort of a fun thing to do. And then I hit on the murder mystery because I figured that would be a good way to pull people in. It seems to have worked to some degree, although I'm still trying to let people know the book is there. It's been out a while, and I'm trying to get some sales going here. It's on Amazon.
Well, they have to hear about it. No,
Yeah.
it's around. What we tend to do is when we like a book, we tell about the book to someone else. And,
True.
Yes. And now in this book, the familiar characters are the servants. You call them servants. And
Correct.
I think parallel elders. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. One of the things that goes on with cults is that they invent their own words or assign new meanings to words that we all know. And so I wanted to convey that in the world. I'm in the process of attaching a glossary of different language used by the disciples that might shed some light on things. The servants are the equivalent of elders. They go out in disciple making instead of field service, things of that nature.
And what do you call the meeting places?
That's a gathering house. And the gathering refers to either the congregation or the meetings that they go to.
Mm-hmm. And we call the organization, we call them Watchtower.
Yeah.
Sure. You've got some interesting names. What is the headquarters called?
New Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Incidentally, that's here in Seattle where I live. I moved it across the country from New York.
Yes, you did. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And who's the foundation?
The foundation, it's called the Word of God Foundation, is the official name of the organization, although everybody in the religion just calls it the Word. They talk about being in the Word or serving the Word.
In the truth, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, the story is sensible, and we recognize the way the characters behave because that's the way that religion, our kind of ex-religion,
yeah,
behaves. I did enjoy the two detectives, especially Ed. Ed is a good man.
Yes, he is.
Portray him as a good man and very helpful. But the vocabulary of the word organization was very confusing to the detectives.
Oh, yeah. They can't understand what's going on. Part of Ed's confusion arises, I thought of this listening to some of the people earlier, when the servants, the equivalent of the elders, get to the gathering house, they're having a routine meeting. I can't remember now what it was, probably something the equivalent of a disfellowshipping judicial committee. And they get in there and find this dead teenager on their floor and promptly get in an argument for about half an hour of what they should do next. One guy wants to call New Jerusalem and talk to the legal department. Somebody else is like, no, we need to just call the police. There's a body on the floor. And so Ed is like, you guys spent half an hour arguing about this when he gets there and starts interviewing them. So he is totally perplexed. Although I've asked around some when I was first writing this, and a number of people agree that the first thing at least one elder would do is want to call Bethel and talk to the legal department. And I'm sure that's true of other religions too.
I don't know about other religions. I only know about that. That's what they do with the Watchtower
Yeah.
because they're instructed to do so. It's,
Yes.
well, especially with child abuse, but with murder, the instructions, like for instance, I found quite a number of years ago in an article that specifically talked about an adult woman being raped. Called the authorities.
Yeah.
They didn't say that with child abuse. Called the authorities. So there was these they're not blatant out there with instructions. It's very confusing. They have to the elders, in your case, these servants, they're as confused as some of the elders in Jehovah's Witnesses. I found that you did a really remarkable explanation of how that all that confusion works. And
I thought of another example earlier in the listening here. When Mount St. Helens erupted, my wife and I were living about 200 miles downwind of the volcano. The town we were in, Pullman, Washington, got 8 tons of volcanic ash on every acre. The highways were closed. Nothing was moving. The mountain blew up on a Sunday, and on Tuesday, I got a phone call from an elder, one I didn't particularly like, and he said his exact words were, "We've called Bethel, we talked to the service department, and they agree that we can cancel meeting tonight." And I'm going, the state patrol has closed the highways, and you think you need to talk to Bethel close to cancel the meeting? So, that's, and I brought that into the book, that everything has to be cleared from somebody higher up the ladder to you until it reaches the top, and then they make a decision and throw it down like a tablet off the mountain.
Yeah, that should be a clue, shouldn't it? When you're thinking of joining an organization, and you realize have done that experience. That experience is that's ridiculous. But then you belong to something that is similar, or maybe you're thinking of it. Who would join an organization like that you can't even make a decision for your own safety?
Well, for starters, I think the Watchtower and similar religions are very good at hiding their reality from new potential converts. I'm under the impression the Watchtower isn't converting anybody anymore, so it may not be relevant to them. But I was a born in, my wife was a born in, and we had no idea, or not born in, either one of us were converts. So we didn't know what we were getting into when we joined.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you were impressed with the love bombing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And to be fair, where we were in that congregation in Pullman, it was a small group. It was very close knit. It was very friendly. We had a lot of good friends who immediately stopped talking to us when we disassociated ourselves in 1989.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that's the instructions.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not written in bold in the literature, but we all know that that's the way it has to be. So in here, you even have a corresponding circuit overseer in the.
Oh, yeah. There's an area servant. Nobody likes him, but that his job is to run around basically and kick everybody and get them into line with whatever they need to get lined up.
You do this so well that you don't. There's no way that someone would think, "Oh, this is Jehovah's Witnesses." This is a great mystery novel that has a religious trauma deal. But when you are a witness and you read this, you see the similarities.
Yeah.
They have a lot of computer material in here. It plays a part in the mystery.
Yes. Computers in this day and age, that actually, when I started writing this book, was pre-internet. So I found that I had to, as I grew more in using the internet, that there was more going on. Although there's some still sort of fumbling around on the part of the servants and the like. They're not very computer savvy.
Well, now they have to have the society's programs and on their computers in the room,
Yeah.
the Kingdom Hall, and everybody has to. Well, no, I don't think everybody has to know. I think they have the one individual that uses the computer, but the surprise of in this book is the ending. I was surprised at the ending. I mean, I saw where you were going, but there's so many twists and turns here. What do we learn from this book?
Well, I hope we'd learn that there are a lot of people out there that will hide behind religion to pursue some agenda of their own, whether it's money, sex with teenage girls, swapping some pornography, drinking. There's a lot going on in there that's uncouth. I think that may be a bit unfair to some religious people. There are some good people in the groups, even among Jehovah's Witnesses, but I wish they'd wake up a little bit more about the exact nature of the religion they belong to.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you said, some of the areas that you attended Kingdom Halls, they have very loving groups, and then others they do. But lots of the times that has to do with the location, the kind of people that attend. Like if you attend some areas where people are not outgoing, then you, generally speaking, for the natives of that area, that's reflected at the Kingdom Hall. So, but it's hard when you move into a place, if you're in if you have a job that you're transferred and you go to another Kingdom Hall, it can be very traumatic on you when nobody notices you if you're alive or dead when you came through the door, you know.
Yeah.
So, are you in love with the religion, or are you in love with the people, how they treat you? I mean, there's so many psychological things going on, and but a book like yours, do you think it? Maybe I'm repetitive, but did it teach? Does it teach us anything? Well, you kind of ventured into what you think it does. I would like to say that it's a great read. That's what I want to say. It's a great read. And whether it reflects Jehovah's Witnesses or not, I enjoyed it. But of course, that's me. Somebody else who's a mystery reader might not. But I think that we should advertise your book. And so, and I hope that people get acquainted with it so you can write another.
Well, I would hope so. I would hope that, first of all, I'm entertaining some people before we get into any of the thematic things about religion or whatever. I would hope that people would be entertained by this.
Yeah.
And I hope that being entertaining would lead some people that wouldn't normally look at it to read it.
When prophecy fails.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? You know, you read that and you say, what does that mean? You know, religion is a topic. I notice I subscribe to a number of different organizations, news organizations. It's amazing how many articles that are coming out on religion. And so many people in the U.S. Don't feel like they need organized religion anymore.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting topic. It's one that many people are thinking about. And that's why a story like this one could be very fascinating to people who have seen the dark side of bad people using a religion. And apparently in this case, these were there were some people using it. Well, we have that in Jehovah's Witnesses, in the Catholic Church, in the Mormon Church, and Amish, and you name it, Scientology. They use it for their own benefit. They don't use it because of their personal worship of God.
I think it is Amazon Prime has a movie or a TV series out right now called Shiny Happy People that I think people listening to this would find interesting. It's about the Duggar family.
Oh, yeah.
19 and counting.
Yeah.
That whole scandal, that show was quite an eye-opener.
Someone sent me an article about that. And that pointed to the program. I don't think I can access that program. I don't know, but I read the article about it. It's quite lengthy and showing the hypocrisy of the Duggar family, and they weren't what they portrayed at all.
And I agree with you. This is a subject that lots of people are interested in right now. Mm-hmm. And I hope that I might touch some minds with some new thoughts on the subject.
Well, Barbara and Jeff, I want to come on here right now. I want to tell you that it's amazing. We have a lot of people listening in tonight. So, Jeff, we got about 5 minutes left. So you and Barbara can kind of wrap it up here a little bit. We want to let people know where they can get your book. Yep. So let's do that because we get some more programs coming up here tonight. So go ahead, Jeff.
Yes.
Let us know where can you get your book, and give you 5 minutes now. Go ahead.
Okay. It's self-published on Amazon. You go to Amazon, just put Armageddon's Disciples into the search bar, and it'll take you there. You can also go to my website, jeffthomasbooks.net, and I think there's one of my historical books is the first thing you'll see, but if you scroll down a little bit, Armageddon's Disciples is right there, and there's a link to the sales on Amazon.
And what are the other books? What's the names?
I'm the one that's on top right now is called The Privateer. It's a historical book about the Revolutionary War. And the first things I published actually were an alternate history series. There's 3 books that are also on there. So the big thing for this audience is going to be Armageddon's Disciples. I will tell you that there is a sequel underway. I've got about probably half of it written. It needs a major rewrite, but it's in the works. And that's going to get more into the when the prophecy fails aspect of these books. But I think people will like that one too. And it's in kind of a thriller mystery thing.
Yeah, we got to get you a following. I think it'd be easy. It'll be easy once they read one, because if this is their type of thing that they like, then they will want more.
I agree. Mm-hmm. So it's out there. Take a look.
Thank you so much for being patient.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It was our pleasure, and I'll tell you, it was wonderful that you contacted me to tell me about your book.
I'm
And
glad I
I'd like
did.
to read it. I really do. I haven't read a mystery book in a long time because I'm so involved in the computer. Plus, I'm trying to write a book for 20 years, but I don't know that I'll ever finish it.
It took me quite a long time to do this one, not just in the writing, but I had to go back and rework a lot of things that didn't work out in the first draft. So
I understand
it took a while.
you're going to include a glossary.
Yes.
Yeah. So right now, that's not. I mean,
That's
that's a new one.
and there's a preface. I'm going to get both of them in there. It probably will take Amazon a week or so to get the updates made, but in the meantime, the majority of that book is intact and readable. So
Good.
I'm just adding a couple of things to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have sure got an active mind.
What was that?
You have an active mind.
I do.
Yeah, yeah. I bet you drive your wife crazy with all your ideas, right?
I do sometimes, yes.
Well, no,
I will have to admit that.
No doubt, Barbara, he does have a lot of ideas. Jeff, thank you. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on tonight. My goodness, you're quite a guy. Thank you very much for coming on the 6 Screens tonight. We appreciate it.
Next book, he has to come back.
I will.
Well, we'll get him back. We got more programs coming up here. Barbara, I have to tell you, it's amazing. It really is amazing the amount of people that came in tonight listening to all these stories. Isn't it amazing that we got all the people that you wanted to come on tonight? I mean, I'm just flabbergasted by that. All the people came on that you wrote to.
Yeah, we invited 5 people. 5 people came on.
5 people came on. So you're doing a good job. And I want to thank you personally for promoting this. Thank you, Barbara Anderson.
Oh,
yes, thank you, Barbara.
And you're very. It's my pleasure. I'm telling you, you opened my world by with letting me introduce these books because I got to read this. I'm telling you, I have not until the first one that arrived from one of the folk tonight and months ago. And then, of course, I had COVID, so that interfered with my thinking ability. And once I got over that, and I really enjoyed this. It got me away from some of the usual draggy part of life, So thank you for inviting me to do this. I appreciate it so much.
Well, it's a good program, Barbara. And what we're going to do, we're going to do this probably every 6 weeks. Authors that have written books concerning the Watchtower. I think it's a great program. Barbara, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Just an amazing program. It'll be in YouTube. If you guys want to check it out, check YouTube. It'll be on once we leave this platform. It's live streaming. They will put it on to regular streaming, so you guys will be able to see it. But thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you, Jeff, for coming on tonight and being with us. We got some more programs. We're going to go right now, too. So thank you.
Thank you. And we'll say good night and good night to all the listeners.
Very good. So listen, we're going now to Red Pill from the Watchtower. That's coming on next right here on the 6 Screens Tele Network. So let's bring that on right now. We're going to end this